Hold up. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another great day here at Argos TV. Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful sunny Wednesday, April 14th. I'm here, Jeston Lewis. We're here at the studio. We got Erica coming up. We got James in the back. I can't say Sweet Baby James. It's totally not my thing. It's all Jaime, so I'm gonna refrain. I'm also not gonna call him his other nickname here around the studio because he gets upset when I do that. But we have a great day for you here. Starting out, we have another great new episode of Sarah Weber talking to us to get us in a great mind space for the rest of the day, the rest of the week, the rest of the month. Join us every week with her at the top of the show to get your fix of the quick mind fix. After that, we have Erica doing another live session of Building on Oh Dear. We have a quick interlude before I show up at 5 o'clock to do some songwriting, and we have a great 5 o'clock hour wrapped up with Bee Wise Gardens, showing us some great stuff about seedlings, I believe. And then following that, we have a new episode of My Idaho Friends with Jaime Lima, where he talks to John and Scott Sword about some pretty incredible urns that John makes. You'll have to stick around to see it. These are truly works of art, and the work that he does is fantastic. And closing out the night, we're actually bringing back Kvell Fitness. So instead of your relaxing yoga session with Pierce Thai, we have an amped up, awesome workout from Kvell Fitness. So stick around, enjoy watching Argos TV here today on Wednesday, April 14th. And right now, let's head on over to Sarah.
Focus, okay.
We're going to take a few moments just to breathe and hold that image in our minds.
Sarah, I can hear the birds. I can totally hear the birds. I think I can sense them. I think they can sense me. Oh, they know I'm playing with them. Do you hear them? Do you hear them? Like you're here.
Imagine a scene from your future that you want to have happen.
Wow, you look super zen.
Hi, I'm Sarah Weber, the Brain Cleanup Coach, and this is your 10-minute mindset fix on the fallacy of feeling better. Now, that doesn't sound fun, right? Like, what's wrong with feeling better? Of course, there's nothing wrong with feeling better. It's wonderful when we can conjure up the thoughts and emotions, have the experiences that make us feel good, that make us feel happy, joy, calm, safe. But here's the deal about being a human. And this actually applies, I think, to any creature on this planet that has a brain. We were not designed to feel good, at least not all of the time. Feeling good is a good barometer to point us in a direction when we're doing something that improves us, that is healthy for us. But we also know that feeling good can go awry. Think of this in terms of addiction. And why do we pursue this? Why are we kind of obsessed as a species with pursuing feeling good? Well, I mentioned a feeling a little bit ago that I think plays pretty deeply into it, and that is the feeling of safety. when we feel good, we can kind of let our guard down, right? When we feel good, we feel safe. But think about that in terms of a very dynamic planet that we live on. A planet with storms and earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, tsunamis. A planet with poisonous animals. A planet with predatory animals that are looking for food. A planet with humans that even can be predatory, can be violent. There are so many things in our environment that our biology, like down in the cells, need guarding against, needs alertness of, right? But when we feel good, we don't necessarily have that alertness working as well as it does when we're not feeling that great, or even just kind of neutral, when we're not in that like good, happy space that is kind of distracting. When we're in that space, we're really on high alert, we're super aware. When we're not in that happy, joyful, calm, safe space. And so there is a reason that we're in what we would label as a negative, but when we're in that space of alertness more often than we are in the happy, safe, calm space that we strive after and obsess over. So what I'm trying to tell you is that it's normal not to feel better all the time. Completely normal. And in fact, it is what saves you often. It is what allows you to make it through your life on what can be a dangerous planet. Dangerous just in as much as there's, the things that can be harmful. And so applying this to meditation, the reason I'm thinking about this is the meditation I was doing this morning was talking about how the breath is enough. But often in meditation, if it doesn't feel good, we start seeking new things within meditation. If paying attention to our breath isn't enough, then we feel like we need a mantra to repeat. Not that there's anything wrong with repeating a mantra. I do those types of meditation. But if that mantra isn't making you feel good, then you start thinking, oh, I'm thinking the wrong mantra. I need a different mantra. I need a new mantra in my meditation because this isn't making me feel great. This isn't bringing me the happiness and joy that I'm seeking. But that's really not what meditation is about. Meditation is about awareness. So if you think about alertness and alertness keeping you safe, meditation is like awareness of what your mind and body are doing together to create the state of mind that you're in on a regular basis. And sometimes when we can come to awareness about these things, when we can recognize them regularly, then we start to understand why we don't feel good all the time, but it becomes okay. It just becomes a part of the human experience, and it is completely normal. And that in and of itself is perfectly fine. We're not designed to feel great and happy and joyful all the time. But when we start to believe that we should and we're chasing it constantly, that's where we can get into trouble and kind of pattern in behaviors that aren't necessarily the healthiest for us. So with that being said, we're just going to do a quick breathing meditation. We're going to just stick to the basics and remind ourselves that the breath is enough. Even if we're not feeling great during the meditation, even if we feel like we keep slipping up and we keep losing, the focus on our breath and we keep thinking, that's okay. The breath is enough to bring us back as an anchor and a focus. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to take a deep breath in through our nose, out through the mouth. Close your eyes. And just focus on your breath. Breathe normally. Feel the rise and fall of your chest. Let your breath fill your awareness. And just pay attention to the simple act of breathing. If your brain is wanting to think, if it's wanting to plan, if it's telling you you're not doing this right, that is your brain just thinking. Allow the thought to pass and bring your focus back to breathing. Just normal pace in and out. If your brain is telling you that this moment isn't enough, that you should be doing this better, that things should feel better, those are just thoughts. Allow them to float by like a cloud in the sky, and bring your focus back to your breath. It's normal for the brain to activate thought, for energy to flow through neurons and manifest thinking. And when you notice it happening, when you notice it picking up, just let the thought pass and bring your focus back to the breath. All right, let's go ahead and take a deep breath in through our noses, out through the mouth. Open your eyes. And I hope this was just a reminder for you of how often our brains complicate things with thought. And that's kind of what our brain was designed to do, right? It gets critical. It wants to apply lots of different definitions and meanings to a given situation and make something of it. But during meditation, just focusing on your breath, nothing needs to be made of it. Breathing can just be, and it can be enough. Thank you so much for joining me in this 10-minute mindset fix, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great day.
I see green. I mean, that's okay, right? It's all around me. I'm just observing the world that's around me. It's okay. Don't judge it. Don't judge. Don't judge.
Hello, and welcome to my favorite time of the day, the time I get to take 30 minutes and draw with all of you. And all of you are awesome. I've had a really exciting adventure for the last couple of months with some wonderful friends and filmmakers. My friend Katie Preston, who we see all over Argos TV because her and Jared and Justin and I and James all banded together to really help create Argos TV in the beginning. And something that I've learned is when you surround yourself with people that show up and work hard because they want to be around you, you walk away feeling really good. And this morning, I got to have dinner with another wonderful human being who is very special to me. And you got to meet him in the beginning days of Argos TV. And that would be Chef Cody Cornwall. He's my husband, and hopefully we can get him back in here doing more shows. But for now, I got to have breakfast with him and a deer on our patio this morning. And I put it on our Argos stream so that you can see it on the Instagram. But I'm going to try and pull from that little adventure this morning and all of those good feelings that that cute little doe gave to me. It looks a lot like that doe, not the same one. Well, it could be possibly, but totally different part of town. So here we go. I'm going to try and grow some more growth on the buds on the tree. If you're in a part of the country, like shout out to Paula in Chicago, who's just now starting to get buds on their trees. And we are in full bloom here in Boise, and springtime feels so good. So let's do some flowers. I've got foundation going on these bottom ones. I'm going to add a little bit more to the top, and then I'm going to try and get a little detail in before I get that warning that we've gotten halfway, so that I can start moving towards getting a little more darkness into the other side. And before we leave, hopefully get a whole nother section of the black in here. But I'll have to get this done, these flowers done, in order to do that. So let's see how far we get. Another project I've been working on is a continuation of our film from the Roads to Bogus series that we did, the We Are Roads. I've been working with Colin Clark over at Push and Pour. That's Push and Pour Coffee. He and I have got to interview the artists that are Sector 17. And if you're in Boise, Idaho, and you see a mural out there and it's fantastic, I can totally guarantee it's probably theirs. Not saying there aren't a lot of other great mural artists here in town, but these guys, they set the bar. And spending time with them yesterday and interviewing them, learning about how much work they've put into their artistry, and it was fantastic. But the one thing that just got me was, we were talking about the time lapses, and James has been putting together the time lapses of this for you guys on the Argos YouTube channel, but it makes it feel like you can draw so much faster than you actually do. And they were saying with their murals, those time lapses are fantastic, and they just wish that they could paint as fast as they are. I have to say, it's fun to watch them in that motion, but I have really enjoyed this process.
They need a blade in the sheath, they're shanking a piece, a crate full of heat, an army, a fleet, a tank and a jeep, a navy, a sea, with ace a marine, an ace up their sleeve, a team of marines, a freak on a leash, a beast with an appetite, razor for teeth, and still they will lay at my feet. Boy, you got the wrong one. I gotta look over all of my publishing statements for Q1 as soon as the song's done. I gotta call up my mama and tell her I made it as soon as my log's done. I gotta read all my trade publications and sit my teeth till it is all done. I think it's all fun. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready.
Once we get the dark background on this, it's going to be amazing to see how these pop.
Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything.
It's kind of hard to reach up there. Should probably get the step stool. I guess I actually didn't mention, I said murals in Boise, but they're currently working on murals in Caldwell right now. Thank you. Okay, I just got the word from James that it's 15. So I'm just gonna throw a few more feathers on here. We got the next, I call them feathers. It's what it feels like. I'm creating like little feathers. The flowers that come into mind that I've been staring at, they come in little clusters. But if you have watched any Daisy or art, you know that I absolutely love birds. So I feel like everything always has to have feathers. I wish I had feathers. At least I could fly. They're working. Okay. Ooh, man, I want to get those top ones down. But I'm going to move over and fulfill my promise. Great. We need a color, we need the purple flower. Grow a couple more flowers today. Blend them in. I feel like there needs to be where sunflower is going to be trying to grow.
pace. They throwing shade, but I'm gone. You gotta keep it up to my face. Taking the gang out of space. Especially stay in your place. They ain't on all of my songs. I don't know what can I say. That's what I'm saying, God is grace. God is the shoot, I'm the lace. Running around, got me stoned, man. Feels like I'm stuck in the maze. Shoot at the opposite case. They sipping only 9 states. I can do it on my own. Yeah, they judging me up on mistakes. This flow is so heavenly. Most of my friends in the front of me. They trying to bring out the beast. I'm batting 1,000, my game is elite. I'm running around in the streets. They're trying to catch up, but they still can't compete. I thought they got in my sleep. He told me keep going, cause you got to leave. Count it up. All the brodies came through, then we added up. They was asking me questions, I had it up. I've been running with God, I just leveled up. They been straight to my face, got that antidote. They been putting me on like I'm on the dough. I can see why they hate, that just ain't me. Tell me a place that I can't go. I don't think they get it, they don't understand. I'ma do it for my homies and my fans. They don't see the vision, they just see the band. Eyes on the money like a rubber band. He's number one, I follow his command. You can try it, you won't get a chance. I keep on going till I can, and abiding by his plan. They tryna hit me, I'm running the race. I gotta pick up the pace. They throwing shade, but I'm gone. You gotta keep it a buck to my face. Taking the gang out of space. Stay in your place.
Just like the deer this morning. Sleeping. And I need to give her a little something to chew on. How do you think of that? Like, what?
Silver step into the play, you bet I'ma hit it. What I'm doing in this game, I did in a scrimmage. Rappers wanna know there's beef and burning up bridges. Deep down they dealing with pain, they just wanna admit it. Won't stop till I get it. Speed it up when I'm winning. It's silver and undefined, period, no sin. They tryna give me the fit. I'ma say Jesus and risk it. Treasure in heaven, generation with them, I passed up a ton of my jit. Had to make sacrifices for this. I can fake, had to cut off some friends. Vision late ever since the beginning. Go get the bad, then bring it in. Every L was a lesson you did. Had a nest, had to handle the biz. I bought a whatchamacallit, and it's chilling right over the fridge.
Okay, I don't want to get in his face.
I gotta pick up the pace. They throwing shit, but I'm gone. You gotta keep it up to my face. Taking the gang out of space. Especially if you stay in your place. They ain't on all of my songs. I don't know what can I say. They throwing shots, what I'm saying by his grace. God is the shoot, I'm the lace. Running around, got me stoned, man. Feels like I'm stuck in the maze. Shoot at the opposite case. They sipping only 9 states. I can do it on my own, yeah. They judging me off my mistake.
Oh, I'm doing it again. I'm doing the. Hopefully, we stay up for now. Let's see. Okay, that's it. That's turning out good. Let's turn that next one. Thanks, bud. Okay.
With that bad boy talk, I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me baby, bust it open, bring it back. I'm the realest killer in it, I don't even need an act. Throwing up the racks, I'm just throwing up the racks. Baby stack it to the ceiling, see we ballin' with the sack. No one cares till you kill. Life is a bitch and I fuck her like a milf. It's a dirty, dirty world, gotta keep your face clean. Get pussy, take money, make music, chase dreams. Shouted, read it over, never lied about a theme, but there's some things I never told you. Flow is dope as coke and weed, I'm rolling with the Cosa Nostra. Mind your business, tell them mind your business, not religious, so don't ever cross me like a line of scrimmage. It's not a gimmick, every single day I live it. Money don't sleep, got opinion by the minute. Money comes, money goes, but I never lose my flow. I ain't messing with these hoes, I stay messing with my bros. Now you messing with a pro, never stressing all the dough. What's a blessing, now I know my team winning is for show. Now I know my team winning is for show.
Oh, I don't want to leave it like that, but it sounds like I've only got 30 seconds left. And we know from experience, don't want to do anything rash. I know I have a little bit of a buffer, so I'm going to take very carefully through here because I want to be able to study this for the next couple of days to see about blending in some more of this flower treatment going on here. There's a big old hole right there. Oh, so close. And okay. So next time we see each other, I'll work on getting the tree branch to be brown so that it doesn't look like the antler. And yeah. Thanks for drawing with me. Well, or watching me draw. Hopefully you were drawing along with. Anyway, have a good week. We'll see you next week.
minds keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the. Wake up, get out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. Yeah, I hear him chatting the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but mans keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch me, please use caution. Beg, please get on your knees. Came from the jungle, up in the trees. I got a few tricks up in the sleeve. One wrong move, I'ma let out the. Big shoes, check out the crease. Blow like I'm Bigfoot, step on the beat. Make a man's run till he step out the cleats. When the whole place scream, gotta get out the. Yeah, I hear him chatting the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but mans keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch me, please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. Yeah, I hear him chatting the noise. Then stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man's keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. They'll tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch me, please use caution. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now you be surprised at the info you get is by letting them talk, so I'm letting them talk. Gotta keep quiet, maneuver in silence, then let them in, chalk up their body, another one body, that's just how it go. I got some secrets, I'm shaking the game so they stay on their toes. Stay in your lane, how to stay on the go. I can play with the pros and act like a rookie, so they overlook me. They not double up again, none of their nose, none of them cold. They just got lucky but never adapted, so I'm to the one if it's coming to blows. My enemies cutting it close, I let them think that they got me, but what do you know? I had them beat before we ever spoke, I'm ready for smoke. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now they ain't go harder than me, they need a blade in a sheath, a shank in a piece, a crate full of heat, an army, a fleet, a tank and a jeep, a navy at sea, with ace a marine, an ace up their sleeve, a team of marines, a freak on a leash, a beast with an appetite, razor for teeth, and still they will lay at my feet. Boy, you got the wrong one. I gotta look over all of my publishing statements for Q1 as soon as the song's done. I gotta call up my mama and tell her I made it as soon as my log's done. I gotta read all my trade publications and sip my tea till it is all done. I think it's all fun. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything.
Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a pastor, doctor. I got a 6th sense for imposters. So now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the chains. Can't control me. I got the power, I got the keys. back. Just wait and you'll see. Please excuse me, your honor, but you can't hold me no longer. Can't you feel the vibrations? I broke out and left traces. Go ahead, try catch me if you can, man. You'll be looking all night, I'm the Sandman. New York, London to Japan. I'ma show the whole world who I am. Boom, boom, major look, huh? Yeah, this one is for the books. All these chances I took still, I move straight on these rooks now. Hold me up or hold me down, have my back or hold my crown. Either you with me or not, but you better give all you got, cause I break the chains. Can't control me. I got the power, I got the keys, cause I break the chains. They try to hold me, I'ma push back. Just wait and you'll see.
Gardens is a family-run boutique garden design firm. They specialize in edible landscapes, habitat gardens, water-wise plants, education, and gardens and containers, all the way to elaborate sanctuaries for your environment and well-being. Let them help you create your dream garden.
This one's pretty easy because it's just grays and then some of these brown tones. I'm like notorious for bringing way more than I need. I started painting just from like riding on skate spots and stuff. I was gonna roll out just the background, kind of cleaned up a little bit. It's like an old box truck that this guy John owns. I used to go to Boise High and walk past this garage all the time. And he's been letting us paint on it for like 10 years. Like,
can you paint that hole in the tire for me?
Yeah, I got you. I'll just fix it up real quick. Yeah, it's gonna be tight. I like adding a couple of little elements in there that are like really subtle. Finding imagery that I like and putting it together in a meaningful way and just painting for myself. It's nice to just be able to get out and do something solely of your own volition.
I like that. That was damn good.
Thank you.
I was diagnosed schizoaffective.
But you don't have your meds.
I'm about to have some really bad days. No, 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 no. Please stop!
Hey everybody, welcome to another session of songwriting. Sorry I missed you last week. I had my wisdom teeth out a couple weeks ago and my jaw was just not having it last week. I was like, I'll come in, I'll do the intro, and then I'm done. But here we are this week with some new songwriting. Nice new blank page. You know, I kind of still have the love of the Black Keys. But I think we're gonna go back down to the Ivories. things on my shopping list is to actually buy like notation paper as opposed to just lined paper. So that way I can actually write down all of the strange chord patterns that I come up with as I play around on the piano. This is kind of an F major, but it's... You know, it's funny because my wife was asking me, what are you going to write about today? I was like, I don't know. And here I am sitting here still being like, I still don't know what I'm going to write about today. Definitely a trick to use is just kind of look around, see what's around you. Because, you know, last time we were here, I started writing about the random camera parts and pieces, kind of looking from the perspective of inanimate objects and trying to tell a story. And there are all sorts of stories that can be told through the kind of eyes of inanimate objects. Like I have a song that I wrote about a pair of slippers that a friend told me how they got this pair of slippers from a loved one that they always wore. Sorry, they got a pair of slippers from a loved one that they never wore. They were really nice, beautiful slippers. They always wore this other kind of cheaper pair that I guess was a little bit more comfortable, or maybe it just felt weird wearing the expensive pair of slippers. So I wrote this song from the perspective of this expensive pair of slippers being like, what the heck, man? Like, why don't you wear us? Like, we're really nice. We're made of like natural fibers. We're not made of like polyester like these other people. Like, come on, man. So if you're feeling stuck, go ahead and look around the room. What do you see around the room that might have a story to tell? And with that being said, this lamp over here. I don't know if you can see this lamp. I don't think you can see this lamp. So this lamp, the bulb just went out. So maybe there's a story that can be told about the bulb, or maybe it's about the lamp now feeling empty inside because it no longer has the companion that makes it whole. You were taken far away. I'm without you every day. away. I'm without you every day. I'm incomplete. I feel hollow. I'm incomplete. There's no light in my life. I'm incomplete. There is no light in my life. There is no light in my life. You were taken far away. I'm without you every day. I'm incomplete. There is no light in my life. I need your sweet touch. I need your sweet touch. Your electric. Your electric sweet touch, your electric. There is no electric something. I'm just gonna go with light for right now because something I can get figured out in the second draft. Please come back. Sweet touch, your electric light. Please come back. We've been together for so long. I just don't know what went wrong. I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I'm here alone. Lost the cap to my pen. Oh well. I can't believe that I'm here alone. I hope you're listening. Do. Please come back. So I think this is the perfect song to turn. I feel like this is kind of like I'm hearing it in my head as more of like a dance tune, like 4 on the floor, more techno-y stuff. So I'm excited to get kind of moving on the second draft of this. So we've been together for so long. I just don't know what been wrong. We'd been together, that's more like it, because we're talking past tense. We've been together for so long. I just don't know what went wrong. I can't believe that I'm here alone. Is someone listening? Can you please come back home? Just please come back. Is this someone? Please come back. Is this someone? Someone out? Oh, someone out there. Someone out. Someone out. Someone out there. Is there someone out there? No. Is there someone out there? Nope. Is there someone out there? Someone out there. Someone out there. Let's see, this is where it gets complicated. Is there someone out there? That's a little distressing. That's B minor. Oh, it's B diminished. And someone out there. Will you please? Will you please grant my wish? Answer my prayer. Will you please answer will you please grant my wish? Answer my prayer. Is there someone out there? Will you please grant my wish, answer my prayer? Please answer my wish, grant my wish, answer my prayer. Do 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 do. Someone out there, will you please grant my wish, answer my prayer? Do 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 do. So D minor, C, A minor, A minor, F, G. Let me just start from the top for a minute. You were taken far away. I'm without you every day. I'm incomplete. There is no light in my life. I need your sweet, sweet touch, your electric light. Please come back. We'd been together for so long. I just don't know what went wrong. I can't believe that I'm here alone. Is someone listening? Can you just come back home? Please come back. Is there someone out there? Will you please grant my wish, answer my prayer? And I know, and I know. So high. And I know listening. And I know you're listening. I know you're listening. I know you can. I know you can hear me. And I know you can hear me. But for some and I know you can hear me. Do, 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 do. Do, do, do. I know you can hear me. Please, please just listen. Oh, please, I know you can hear me. So please, please listen. So please, please listen. Please listen. All right, folks, that's all I have time for today. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate all the support that you show for Argos TV, for Erica, for myself, for everybody else that participates in this exercise that we do every week. So until next time, have a great week. Enjoy some sunshine. And right now we have Bee Wise Gardens.
This is my space. This is my space. Have to tag Bee Wise Gardens.
And this is my space.
Hi, it's Gabrielle.
And Isabel, and today we're going to talk about seed starting.
Yes. And we have a business called Bee Wise Gardens where we kind of focus on sustainable landscaping, pollinator landscaping, or pollinator gardens, kitchen gardens, and just things that really just help build the environment and kind of steer away from monocultures such as lawn, like only lawns. Like I would definitely have lawn, but it's minimal compared to my pollinator landscape beds.
Yeah. So
And then you have no lawn.
I do. I have no lawn. I have a xeriscape that I'm building right now. So we will see how that goes. Photos for the future. And part of it actually isn't xeric at all because it's raised beds and it's full of vegetables.
Right.
So we're planning on what we're going to grow ourselves this summer and also what we're going to buy from our favorite local nurseries.
Yes.
So this is what we do when we don't buy transplants from our favorite local nurseries.
Right. Exactly. And this is the time. So seeds, a lot of seeds, like things that take a little bit longer to reach maturity, need to be started about now.
So what we've brought is everything that needs to be started for our specific zone, USDA plant hardiness zone for vegetables, annual vegetables.
Right.
So this is going to be hot peppers, bell peppers, celery, and all of the like cold crops like kale and cabbages and
eggplant.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
So that's a nightshade, and so eggplant and then tomatoes also can be started around this time.
Exactly.
We can start any of the things I just listed from around now, which is February. It's like the second week in February, all the way until the third week in March. That's your time frame to be able to get it outside in time for it to produce enough produce for you to feel fulfilled and also have a good harvest.
Right.
So.
And so then if you don't have the ability to start things like this, then that's where you would go to your local nursery and get those seedlings. And those are done in much the same way. They're all starting them right now, and they'll be ready for you to plant outside May 7th. Unless, of course, it's a cold hardy that you can plant out a little bit earlier. But what we want to show you is all of the basic tools to start seeds, but then we want to show you some extras too.
So yeah, the first thing that we want to talk about is containers. What kind of containers you're going to be using and how that pairs with the medium that you're going to be using.
Right.
So first kind of container that we find the most success with always is peat pellets.
Yeah. And so they look like this when you get them. They're like little discs, and they have in the top where the netting isn't holding it, it has like a little hole. And what that hole is for is where you're going to put your seed. Once you reconstitute them with water, they look like this. And so then that's exposed right there, and that's where that seed's going to go. You really only want to put one seed per peat pellet. Sometimes, obviously, seeds are really tiny, and they'll drop in there, and you just have 2 plants coming out of that. But that's just the way it is.
Yeah,
you
and
really
to
want
piggyback on that point too, different plants will call for, or just by history, you'll need to do a couple seeds per cell, per pot, per container, whatever you're using. And then there's certain ones, once they've germinated, you pinch those off, or you divide them out. However, these aren't as easily divided. They are meant for, like she said, one plant. But if you've got old seed, that's where you want to sow multiple. So if you have tomato seeds that are like 3 years old and you're not really sure if you'll get 100%, you can put 2 to 3 tomato seeds per peat pellet and be able to pinch them off once they've germinated.
Exactly. And so this type of pellet, you can either just put it straight into a tray like this, and you just line them up, and you can buy these in bulk at a lot of places like D&B or North End Organic, or you can order them online. And you can just line them all up in here. If you're going to do like different crops or different things that need different watering, then you can get trays that have holes in them. And then some peat pots would go in this, and it would still sit in this tray that doesn't allow water to leak out of it. But this could be lifted up so that this could drain. But that's a very specific thing for, different kinds of plants. Most peat pots, most seeds, they're just going to need to be germinated in something like this, and then you'll deal with their needs after they're a plant.
Yeah, and the peat pellets too, the way that you water those once they're reconstituted, I guess you could say, or hydrated, they actually will hold on to the water that they need, and then any residual water in there will usually evaporate out unless you really do just over soak it. Usually that's okay for seeds when they're little. We only worry about overwatering once plants get mature. So you don't really have any worries with these about overwatering.
And then there's also like these little kits that you'll see at garden centers as well, where it will come with the peat pellets like this, and they'll just be dry like this sitting in the bottom. And then it has this little dome, and the dome is for germination. You want to remove this once the plant has some leaves.
So this is actually key for pretty much any seed starting situation. You want to have something that is not perforated, something that will keep in the humidity for as long as it takes to get things to germinate.
Right.
The high humidity will help break down the seed coat so that it can actually emerge.
Exactly.
But yeah, what she said is as soon as it germinates and you start to see little leaves or little roots come out, you want to take that off.
You want to take this off. And these don't last forever. They're very, flimsy, but they last a few seasons. So say then this, goes away because it finally cracks or it gets crushed, or I have some that have melted sitting in the greenhouse. And you still just have this tray and it's viable. Then what you can do is you can cover it with saran wrap, or you can put in the edges, you could put some like skewers and then put saran wrap over the top of it with a rubber band. You can get creative with how to build a dome. But this is obviously a tiny little starter. But honestly, this could be an entire patio garden. If you put 2 tomatoes, a pepper, an eggplant, some broccoli, a couple of flowers, this could literally be an entire garden on a patio, just this little bit. So always remember that even though you get 100 or 25 seeds in a packet, you don't need to plant them all. Like I've fallen prey to that so many times. And then I had 28 tomato plants last year, and I was just like, okay.
Yeah,
I had to give them away because I didn't need 28 tomato plants.
Go in on seeds with friends. Share them.
Exactly. It's true.
Because there's definitely way too many for just like us as hobbyists. If you're more of a seed grower and you sell those transplants, it's a different story.
Right, exactly.
But this is all just a very small scale, kind of relaxed gardening.
Right.
And the next thing is a plug tray. This is what one plug tray looks like. This is actually cut in half because this one was 200 cells. So this will just pack with some kind of soil or a seed starting mix, which is usually a soilless mix, meaning that it doesn't have anything from outside, that doesn't have pathogens. It's sterile, so it doesn't have pathogens or any kind of pests harboring in there. That's key for healthy seed starting so that you don't get some kind of disease that wipes it out or creates problems.
Right. And so would you agree, like we tried these last year, and would you agree that this is really more for like a producer kind of person? Because what it is that you're using the minimal amount of soil, and then you're popping these out and transplanting them up when they get to a certain size into next sizes. And usually for like selling or that kind of a thing. And for me personally last year, last year we did everything pretty much. We did trays like this that were just filled with soil, and we seeded them. We did these. We did the peat pellets. We did a cocoa pellet, a cocoa core pellet, and not sadly, but this is the least sustainable, right? That's why I say sadly, is that peat is something that it's a resource that is diminishing. It's a exactly. And so we're running out of peat, and so people are trying to come up with more sustainable ways to have something like this that performs the same way. And for us, for whatever reason, the cocoa core last year, even though we did the exact same thing, whether it was that we just didn't keep those, maybe they dry out more or faster than this did, but they just weren't as successful for us personally. And then this was kind of the same thing where it dried out a little bit too fast and then they would wilt or something like that.
Yeah, and then these are also designed for automated systems to be able to pop them out, plug them into something else, or, put a million different seeds in these in a very fast and efficient way. Right. So this is definitely one option, but it does dry out faster than peat does. It is something that I've found success in when I'm very consistent with my growing. And then we also like to use just like a label maker to be able to label what we've started. Right. We try to do that with everything. Right. Absolutely. The more difficult things to label with are just like little stick tags. You can do this with popsicle sticks. I just like to put on the date, and maybe if I have a number, you can get really nerdy with this, and you can create Excel spreadsheets and whatever to like
color coded,
totally, and make notes on what you liked and what you didn't like. Right. So this is just one option: plastic tags, obviously wood tags, whatever you want.
This is when it gets planted out.
More permanently, also more aesthetic. This is also not necessary, but aesthetically, we like these with, again, a little label maker so it doesn't fade away.
This is the label
Sharpie
maker
markers will always fade away,
yes,
so don't use a Sharpie.
This is the label maker that does an embossing. And so even if it sun fades, even if it gets soaking wet, even I've peeled these off and the actual embossing stays on. And so then you never lose the name of your plant as long as you put it in the right place, of course.
And these we'll use more permanent labels for things that we really liked. And then maybe things that are more experiments, not use permanent labels.
Exactly. And so then another thing that I did last year when we were starting a massive amount of flowers and vegetables is using this plastic tag, and this is just a plant tag from a previous plant. Flip it over and it's blank on the backside usually. Maybe there might be a barcode. But what I did is instead of trying to write the whole name of every plant, because some of them did have really long names, especially like this, the kohlrabi early purple Vienna. Instead of trying to write that completely out for me, I did a number system where I put a number 2 on here, and because I had more than one type of eggplant, and then I put eggplant number 2, eggplant number 1, pepper number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I kept these somewhere safe because when I was a kid, like my grandma, she would always like tape this to a stick, and then you stuck the stick in the ground, and then literally a month later you couldn't read the packet anymore.
Seriously. So, and yeah, then who's gonna remember in all the busyness? I don't.
You think you will, but you don't.
You might, but it's like, all right, let's just keep these safe. Also, again, that comes back to the point, we aren't usually using every single seed in this packet. So therefore we want to keep it and save it for next year.
Exactly, because it has all the information on the back.
So coming back to medium, we also have the ability to get soil mixes that are just already pre-made for you. That's going to be the most time efficient, obviously, and you can use that as you need to. That doesn't apply to the peat pellets, obviously, but usually soilless mixes you can even make your own. You can do peat already, and just like plain peat with perlite in it. This is a little bit more than that. This is perlite and peat and compost.
And some bark, yeah.
And
the compost.
Forest products is what they say, which is so funny. So it's just a random smattering of, wood chips and whatnot composted down. And this is a really well-draining soil. So that peat will retain moisture, but then the other things come in and bring nutrients and drainage, which is key for starting seeds. This kind of situation will be another form of container, which if you wet it down,
so that's what,
I don't know, I don't really have I guess, so if we just wet this down until it's like crumbly, wet cake.
Right, so if you squeeze it, it holds together for a moment, but then will fall apart.
Yeah.
If you bump it. I'm just going to mix this one side.
Great. So, she's mixing this together, getting that water to hydrate it. You don't want it really sloppy wet. And this can be used for something like the plugs. It can be used for individual pots like this.
Or full trays.
Full trays. If you're doing, full trays are great for onions and alliums and things that you are going to be dividing sets. It's called like an onion set. You just take out the little starts and you plant them in the ground once you're ready to transplant. This is a soil blocker. They've been around forever and ever and ever. What it does is you pack in the soil into these 4 compartments. I think there's bigger ones too, and then there's also smaller ones.
Yeah,
and then it just punches them out and gives you a little divot for your seeds. So what I would do to this one is kind of scoop it out. This is a small container. You're going to want to make a mess.
This is an outside or a tarp. If you're going to do it inside, which we're about to do tomorrow at our house, is I'll put a tarp down, I'll put a folding table on top of the tarp, and we'll make a big mess that will sit there until everything's germinated and we can move it into our greenhouse.
So there's this amount of water in here that this ball holds together, but I can still crumble it apart, and it's really quite well draining, and it's not like clay or something like that, So then if I press this out, let's fling this around. I've got a nice little block just like that. And then I can line a giant tray without drainage in
these blocks, and you want to keep them about 1/2 inch apart. And believe it or not,
or pack them together if you're doing a ton of different. If you're doing the same, like let's say you're doing 6 of the same squash or something,
That's
or 6 of the same tomato or whatever, you can actually just use a really sharp knife and cut their roots apart once they've started to grow together.
And
that
the
should be
roots,
fine.
once it germinates and the roots start spreading inside the soil, it actually holds that cube
soil
together.
block together. Yep, totally. Because this is going to be a much messier, crumblier situation. You want to water really carefully. So if you pack the tray as full as you can, that'll be better for the soil block to hold together too.
Right. And so then, and this is the most sustainable, right? Because there's no plastic netting around it.
Yeah, it's all relative.
Yeah, but it is the least expensive. Because you're
Yes.
not buying
You're
a
already buying
bunch
this.
of containers. You're not
This
buying.
is a one-time investment.
You're
I
just
would
buying a bag of
say-
soil and one of these.
Yeah.
So another thing that you can do, and people have probably seen these. I'm going to use that.
Oh, okay.
You've probably seen them made of wood, and they have like a little disc like this with a recess in it, and then a wood dowel with a handle to be able to.
Where's our photo? We
Yeah.
need this.
Photo. Well, I used to have one and I couldn't find it. But anyway, so this is literally newsprint that I just got in a package today. I turned it into strips. I folded it in half.
Yeah, and you can even do what you were about to do with the little collar. where you
Yeah,
were gonna
exactly.
fold the little-
And this is just a juice glass.
You can also do it with a soup can, like a small little Campbell soup can.
And so I fold over the top so that it has kind of a stiffer top. So now we have 4 layers for the little lip.
Top edge.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you
And
want any
then
room to-
I fold it so around this little cup, and you want to leave enough on the bottom because you're going to crunch it all together to make a pot. And so then you're going to roll this around.
Usually like twice is enough, or one and a half
this
times.
is a little bit much.
That's thick. But
So now
it'll
this
hold
is where it
together.
came together. You could fold that over if you want it to be
Or staple it.
super clean. When I made them when you guys were little, because they're going to fall apart anyway. They're going to decompose. But this is where I start the fold in so that it holds that seam together. And then you just kind of crunch all of this together. And yes,
press
like
it.
she said, you can tape this. You can do all sorts of things. You don't have to because you're more than likely going to set it into a tray. So now you have this little pot and you do the exact same thing where you fill it up with soil.
And pack it.
And you, that's another thing we didn't say with the rest of them. You want to make sure that the soil is packed because, especially with these, because if you didn't pack the soil and you try to pop it out, it just kind of falls apart. And then you'll damage the roots or the
And
roots
they
will
all
dry
get
out.
different. Yeah, you want to have consistency across the board for all of your seeds that are
And so then you would do this and then make that little divot and exactly the same thing. Just put it into your tray. And then you can do the exact same thing where
And
you
with
fill it up.
with this, you just plant it straight in the ground because that paper, the roots will actually start growing through the paper as it decomposes, breaks down. Same with that one. That
Exactly.
one just transplant it right out into the ground.
And it's a great way to use packing material. It's a great way to use traditional newspapers. Don't use anything that's like printed or like shiny, like magazines, just because you don't know what that ink was made out of. And if you are putting a plant in it or a food source, you probably don't want that in the ground.
So with all the things that we have here as far as seeds go, those won't need to be transplanted until you're putting them in the ground in the summertime or in the early spring. So for kale or something along that lines, or kohlrabi, we have a different, we have a Japanese broccoli.
Which
Is
I
that what
love
is?
this stuff. It was so easy to grow. I didn't eat it all because I didn't get
Oh,
out
it's
there.
Chinese, excuse me. Chinese broccoli.
Yep.
It's right on the package. So this guy, these will have a short amount of time from germination to transplanting out. Whereas a pepper, spicy pepper, bell pepper, sweet pepper, those will have a very long amount of time. That's why we start them really early, and why we start these really early, like cold crops, kale, cabbage, etc., broccoli, is because they can actually be planted out in April, in late March, and not be damaged by any kind of cold frost.
And this one I think you can even direct sow.
Yes.
So
Definitely.
this one
You can
is-
direct sow anything. It just
Right.
depends on how long your season is.
Right, exactly. And so like what she was saying with peppers and tomatoes and that kind of thing, you're not going to probably plant it in the ground until it's up to this size. And that's just the easiest to work with. And then the plant is about this tall and it's nice and bushy. And that brings us to how do you get nice, stout, like healthy plants that are easy to transplant outside.
Yeah, so one of the key things is consistent heat, and
that's for germination.
Germination, and then also good root systems, especially when you're talking peppers and tomatoes and eggplants that need that warmth because they are warm season plants, or hot crops, I guess you could say, versus cold crops. So this is a heat mat. This one specifically says it warms the rooting area from 10 to 20 degrees above the air temperature in the room. So whether it's in your greenhouse or in your house, this is essential for strong roots, fast growth, and you do have to make sure that they stay watered because this will rise the temperature. Even though soil and water combined do a pretty good job of regulating temperature and everything, they do dry out faster than if you didn't have this. So this is what it looks like. This one's just electric. Plug it in and place it under a mat.
So then you just set it on your surface. Make sure it's not something that's, flammable or whatever. Again, we just use like plastic folding table. And you also probably don't want to put it like on your nice dining table.
No.
Just because it is heating things up, and you don't want to like mess with varnishes or anything like that.
And you can also place a little thermometer in your soil, in your tray, if you'd like to really keep track of all of that.
Exactly. And so then your tray goes on this. It has your seeds planted in it. It has your dome on the top. And then the next thing that's really, really important is a light. And you may think that your kitchen window or your dining room window is amazing and it has plenty of light. It doesn't. It just absolutely doesn't. Just think of a greenhouse and think that they have constant, other than nighttime, constant light going over. It's constant
they even
ambient
add
light.
plant lights.
Yes, exactly.
So even from that, it'll speed up the process. It'll keep really strong stems and strong leaves, just better for your overall success for your garden. So this is one option. There's so many options out there. If you get onto gardeners.com or any kind of bloggers that you like to follow, they'll all have recommendations. This is from Northland Organic Nursery. This is a LED light on two little stands. You could make this out of PVC. You could, however
you really could.
You want to do it.
When you guys were little, I got fluorescent lights like at yard sales, and I hung them from chains from the you have to be really committed all the way down, and also like rope too, whatever I had, because your light needs to start out right on top of your seedlings. And then as they grow, you move them up 2 inches. And as they grow, you move them up 2 inches. And that's why if you've ever started like sunflowers or anything in a window and they've suddenly gotten all spindly and tall and they only have they don't have true leaves, they just have like their germination leaves. What are those called again? I always forget.
So a seed will start with 2 little leaves that don't look like the mature plant, and those are called cotyledons.
Yes.
And then it'll go to the true leaves, but those are the seed leaves.
But a lot of times you'll have a plant this tall and it only has those cotyledon leaves on it because there's not enough light. And so there's plenty of other resources. You're watering, you're doing all these really great things, but it's just simply a light problem. But if you invest in a light, so like we were saying before, we have this down here and we didn't get a bulb for it, but it's just, you want to grab it just so you can see how tall it is. It has
it adjusts.
Exactly, it has an adjustment. So then this stands on either side, and you put a bulb and it starts, the light is hanging right here. And then you're just slowly using, a wing net and moving it up as your plants grow.
And this kind of option is for a really small operation.
Yes, but this is an entire garden. Like, that's the thing to remember is you don't need to have 400 plants to have a nice sized garden. If you filled this with peat pellets, for instance, or even the little blocks or the little paper pots, that is 6 by 12. So that's a lot. You know what I mean? That's 72 plants. And so 72 plants you could have a row of tomatoes, a row of peppers, a row of squash, a row of cucumber. I mean, and that's still even too many for most small gardens.
Yeah, totally. You need 1 cucumber, maybe 2 tomatoes, however you want to do it.
Exactly.
What kind of garden you want to have. So that's definitely a question. Ask yourself, like, do I want to have a salsa garden? Do I want to have a flower garden?
So when you think about it from this small scale, you're like, oh, I only need 1 mat. I only need 1 light stand. I only need 1 dome. And obviously as these things grow and you have to move them up into different pot sizes, they start taking up more space for sure. And then you would have to make different decisions, maybe have to have 2 lights. But it's a really sustainable way to have a garden, and you don't have to invest a ridiculous amount of money to get really healthy, strong plants.
Yeah. The next thing is fertilizer. So this is just one option. This is an organic fertilizer made of organic ingredients, and it is specifically 333, which is even, and that's NPK. That's nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. And so it's going to be really even for your little seedlings, because as soon as they start to grow true leaves, that's when you want to start fertilizing them, because they have no more energy in their seeds, and they hardly have any nutrients in this seed starting mix that we've given them.
Because it's sterile.
So this is just one. This is down to earth. I like these products. They give you instructions on how to apply it and everything, but you have to fertilize your seedlings, especially if you're going to start this early, because they cannot. They just don't have enough.
They'll
to
turn
be a really
yellow.
strong seedling. From now until May when we're planting them out. But again, find your zone, find your timelines, and then look up. There's local ones from your local nurseries. There's also tons of online resources for planting dates and seed starting charts. So if you look up a seed starting chart, as well as the combination of reading your seed packet, then they'll let you know. A lot of seeds, yes, you can definitely direct sow in the soil. We can direct sow cold crops in the beginning of March, even if we have row cover. And row cover is like a lightweight canvas material. So just read your seed package and follow the instructions, or get on their websites where these seed packets came from if you can't find the information you're looking for. Of course, there's times to germinate on seed packets, so that'll help you. Okay, if it says, start 6 to 8 weeks before frost, you got to know what your frost date is. Here it's like May 10th, May 7th, somewhere around there. But yeah, that's pretty much all that we have to talk about seed starting.
And I think that the thing to really pay attention to with a seed and doing it this way too is to make sure and read as far as, do you sow it directly on the surface? Do you poke it down in? Those kinds of things.
And a lot of seeds, it doesn't matter because they don't necessarily need a ton of light to germinate. They need, what you need is high humidity, so keep them watered and keep a dome over them until they're germinated. And you need water, and you need fertilizer, and you need heat. And that's pretty much it. And some kind of seed mix.
And this, you can see, got melted. It still works. Like, there's no reason to throw it away. Just stick it on there, and it totally still works. And so if you ever have questions, contact us at bewisegardens.com. Check us out on Instagram at bewisegardens. We definitely like to answer your questions. We do like a weekly live that where you submit questions ahead of time, and then we answer them. And we love to help people get more gardens in the world.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And welcome to another episode of My Idaho Friends. Yet again, I am your host, Jaime Lima, and thank you for joining us today. As always, huge shout out and many thanks to Argos Productions. Erica, Jeston, sweet baby James out in the back, making sure we all look good and everything's working and everything is just on time. As always, if you're watching our show and we're already on our YouTube page, please subscribe, please like the content, and check out the links at the bottom. One of them will be the link for the Alliance of Idaho, a nonprofit that helps protect the human rights of those most marginalized here in the local area. So please check out their mission, their vision, and if you can, go ahead and support. Today, we have a most awesome sauce episode. We have a couple of fine gentlemen that are gonna really like bring up the panache of the show. I'm using very big words. And I am so very happy and honored to introduce my friend Scott Sword and John Sword. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yes. All right, so everybody's pumped up. Everybody's got their drink. We got a little bit of local whiskey. We got a little bit of water for you, John, because you're driving. I am not. I have water too. But but today's episode is pretty special, and I always say that, Idaho, so settle down. I know, but I really mean it this time. Last times were all just lies. It's really cool. John Sword, who I met through your nephew, my buddy here, Scott, who's a fellow Marine veteran. You guys have introduced me to Everlasting Tree. who is who you're with, John.
Right.
And before we start hitting what Everlasting Green is, what Everlasting Stream mission is all about, I want to get a little bit of background from the both of you. So usually we go 10 years back on time, and we go where we're at right now and where we're going to be in the future. Now, you're a very young fellow, but you're also no spring chicken. So we're probably going to go back a little bit farther than 10 years for you. But I would like for our good friend here, Scott, to start to see where he was at, then, and just give us an idea of where you're at right now.
Yeah, for sure. So, like you said, I am a Marine vet, joined after 9/11, served 4 years active, 1 year in the reserves. Did one combat tour in Iraq, spent most of my time in Okinawa with 3rd Recon Battalion. After I got out, I went to BSU, got my undergraduate, met my wife. Then I had a short career in HR for about 6 months and then transitioned to tech. And I've been a software engineer since then. So approximately like the last 10 years, I've been in various companies throughout the Valley. And now I'm at Intuit, which was acquired by T-Sheets. And I have 2 kids that, keep me busy most of the time, as you know, with your 2. I think so for the next 10 years, I don't know, where it's going to take me. I think trying to really make sure I capitalize on these kind of golden years with my kids. Probably travel more because I've just, worked a lot, over the last decade. So really focus more on family and, my house, do all the house projects and stuff like that. Pretty boring.
You sure do. Well, it seems like boring to the untrained eye. I mean, you're taking a bunch of walls down yourself and trying to figure out the electrical.
Well, I learned most of it from John. I think this is my 4th house now that I'm doing some sort of remodel on. And I got that start when I got out of the Marine Corps. John helped me get my first house and then kind of helped build my confidence to start doing like bigger remodels. And if I ever got in trouble or like got in hot water with something, he's always kind of like my bat signal that would come over and bail me out.
That must be nice.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, and it is a lot of fun.
There you go.
We'll continue to have fun with that.
I once made a birdhouse. So we're like the same. Pretty much.
Well, I get more upset with him when he doesn't call me as opposed to when he does.
Right. See, there you go. He just thinks he's got it figured out, but he still has so much more to learn.
Yeah, you can't leave now.
So thank you for that, Scott. And then thanks to you, and very recently, and I mean last week, you were kind enough to introduce me to John, your uncle, John Sword. So John, we're going to do it a little bit different for you. We're not going to do present time right away, and we're not going to go into the future. We're going to rewind this. I can go a little bit back in time. So back in your working days, because you're currently retired, sort of.
Right.
You still have a passion project that you continuously work on, and that's what we're going to talk about. But before all of that happened, what were you doing?
The way I usually do this, I've been asked this in the past, I like to start with the fact that Scott and I are both native Idahoans.
Okay.
If you're familiar with the Shoshone Falls out of Twin, my great-grandfather, his great-great-grandfather homesteaded the north side of the falls in 1892.
Of course.
And if you're familiar with Table Rock, on our same side of the family, our mother's side of the family, on her aunts, my great aunts on her mother's side actually opened the quarry at Table Rock in 1884. And I have worked for that company. My brother did. They didn't have the quarry anymore, but as we were growing up, and our father ran the Union Pacific Depot at the end of Capitol Boulevard. He was one of the bosses up there, so we sort of grew up out in the gardens and stuff. So we're really sort of Idaho people.
Of course.
And anyway, so that's sort of where we came from, what we do, and I always liked the wood thing. I worked for 2 business people in town out of high school. I didn't go to college. And they owned like 7 different businesses in town, and I worked directly for those 2, and it was just a great experience to learn, being able to see all these different businesses, and they treated me just like one of their sons, so you just learned a lot in doing that. And when I left there, I've been in business for myself ever since.
And when did you strike out on your own? When did you get the skill set to do all the things?
It was like in '88 or something like that. I can't. It's all blurry anymore. But I started buying homes for myself and fixing them up, and what a lot of people call flipping the houses. It was longer than that, but and I always enjoyed doing that. And I was able to work with an electrician and a plumber who had licenses back in the 70s and early 80s, and he said if I would teach him how to work with wood, he would teach me how to be an electrician and a plumber. And so we had about 10 years that we worked together on stuff. I don't know if I ever taught him how to work with wood, though. I feel bad. He's since passed away.
Oh, man.
We spent more time on him teaching me than me teaching him. So anyway, and since I've been in employed by myself in companies and different investments, and that's sort of what I did. And then this thing started, and I never had to serve in Vietnam. Where all my friends were having to go to the service, I had a good number. It was a lottery system, and I always felt I owed because of that. And so that's one of the reasons we started our Earn project. It was a good way to give back.
So let's jump on that a little bit, and this is the way in which Scott introduced us, is the current project, Everlasting Tree. Mm-hmm. So that's something that you took up exactly when you retired, or you were still working?
I was sort of semi-retired. I was still would buy a house myself and fix it up, but we didn't do those really quickly. They could be a year or two project. And so didn't want to make too much of a job out of it. So we were able to start Everlasting Tree at the same time. And it was the veteran side of that. My wife's aunt passed away, and they had an urn over in Oregon, and they wouldn't sell it because they couldn't replace it. I mean, it was a nice urn, but it wasn't made of gold or anything, And so we saw that was sort of interesting. So that's not that hard to do. So we made a few urns out of the shop just to see what they would do. And then from there, so we had a little bit of experience, and I was at a veteran's funeral here in the Idaho State Cemetery, Veteran Cemetery. Mm-hmm. And if you've ever been there, the bugle's going, and the gun's going, and the flag's being folded, and all this is being done over a plastic box. And to me, it was sort of the elephant in the room, and we thought there maybe was a way we could make that a little bit better. And that's what's happened here now, is we've just worked on this to where we have a box, whatever that takes that plastic box, and they can put in it for the ceremonies. I knew I couldn't make a urn for every veteran, but maybe we could make them for the cemeteries.
Yeah.
And that's sort of how that sort of started from.
Okay. So you are Everlasting Tree then?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My name's on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my wife's.
Alone and Unafraid. You guys as a couple. So well, first of all, thank you for that. As a veteran, I'm sure your nephew feels the same way. We most certainly appreciate it. For all of those.
Well, I'm the one that owes, for this, because I didn't have to serve when everybody else was going. So it's my privilege and to give back.
It's a sentiment that is most certainly appreciated. Scott and I are cheering to you.
There you
Cheers.
go. There you
go. Local whiskey made here in Idaho. Center Fire.
It is delicious.
Yeah, Center Fire whiskey. Go check them out. Last season was like, what episode was it? Mm-hmm. Oh, Erica's not here to tell me what episode. She's my fact checker. She's unavailable today. Anyway, thank you. And I have some notes over here. American Veterans Ceremonial Urn Covers. And you guys bear with me, Idaho, you know that I have an accent. Mm-hmm. So this here says, this ceremonial urn covers are designed and created by Idaho artist John Sword. John donates urn covers to veteran cemeteries and veterans organizations where they are used by the family and friends of American veterans during the ceremony or funeral service. 10 of the 14 cavities in the base of the urn contain sand or soil from battlefield locations where veterans served. Additional soils can be placed in any of the 4 empty cavities. You can see a list of the soils below, and we have Pearl Harbor, Omaha Beach, Peleliu Island, Iwo Jima, South Korea, Guadalcanal Solomon Islands, Henderson Field, Wallocanosoan Islands, Bloody Ridge, Quezon, Vietnam, and Bellewood, France. That's quite the touch.
And we're proud of those, but and it's a changing dynamic there a little bit because we're always looking for more soils. And so when we find somebody's traveling somewhere, if we travel somewhere, we're always trying to get more soil. So anybody out there that if you're traveling next to find yourself on a battlefield somewhere and you take the soils with permission, it's and a lot of times what we will do is like in Pearl Harbor, the sand. Pearl Harbor is a big piece of concrete.
Right.
And so we get sand as close. It's outside the base because there just wasn't any sand there to get on the thing. And when I was at Belleau Woods, I was there in 2018 at the anniversary of World War I, the end of World War I. They gave us permission to get the wood we made some pins out of and the soils, but there still occasionally can find a remains there. And so right next to the road where they had cultivated the soil is where we picked up the soil there, because you always want to be respectful of the cemeteries.
That's awesome. Well, you brought up the next point that I was going to ask you about, and then like you mentioned, the pens that you guys make. And that's also how we met.
Yes.
I was fortunate enough that Scott, which by the way, thank you again.
Yeah, no worries.
Brought me along for you to teach me how to make this wooden pen. Did I practice one first? That was key. I appreciate that. And then this, the second was Belleau Wood commemorative pen.
Right.
It's hard to say. Tell us about that, please.
Okay, if Belleau Wood was a big battle for the Marines in World War I, and we got into World War I just at the end of the war. And I've read a little bit about it, but don't check me on history too much here. When the Marines got over to Paris, basically, and this is about 60 miles north of Paris, and they were entering the lines, the French wanted to break them up and put them in with other people, and the Marines says, no, we fight together.
Right.
And so as they went into the lines, the French were coming back through. They had been sort of defeated. And then the Germans hit the Marines, and they said all of a sudden they started noticing that all their soldiers were soldiers, the German soldiers, were getting shot right in the head, and they realized something had changed from the French who were walking the other way to the Marines they came about, and that's where the Battle of Belleau Wood took place.
There you go.
And anyway, we were over there, and we were fortunate enough to get a little bit of wood, and I thought, well, we could make some pins out of that. And we're going to wander a little bit to the relationship we have with the Medal of Honor Society now, but and I thought that'd be a great gift to the Medal of Honor recipients that are Marines, and so that's how we got those. And now you helped us with Peleliu. We got a little piece of wood from there, and that's also a big battle for the Marines. And we will also, the first 12 go to the Medal of Honor recipients that are still alive, that are Marines. Actually, you guys will probably get yours first, but you know.
You didn't say that. What is the Medal of Honor Society?
The Medal of Honor Society is an organization that they belong to that sort of represents them. There's actually the Medal of Honor Society, and then there's the Medal of Honor, I can't remember what they call the other, which is more of a organization business type that I think generates some funding for them. The Medal of Honor Society is just all the members that have received one are part of that society. And it's a closed society. They don't do a lot of advertisement or anything like that.
Right.
And we always tread lightly with what we say about them because they've let us in, and we don't want to ever violate any confidence that they have.
Absolutely.
But at this point, we've done 4 urns for Medal of Honor recipients.
That's wonderful.
And also getting to know them and getting to know their families is pretty special.
I mean, these urns are very special. These things are absolutely stunning and beautiful. You want to talk to us a little bit about these, please?
This one, the leaves on top of both of these urns, the leaf itself was collected at Arlington National Cemetery. And that would have been, actually we've went through several leaves, but that's probably 10 years ago now, time flies. And so the leaf was from Arlington National Cemetery, and we had it bronzed at Valley Bronze in Joseph, Oregon. And we went there because I had taken a tour of the foundry. They had, when we were going through, they were doing the work for the World War II Memorial in Washington, D.C. As I got to know the people, I also found out they did the frames for the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence. So it's important to who makes those, not only where the leaf came from, but they do it. And we have a great working relationship with them. And so we think that earns a little more significance, having the leaf on there as sort of the handle of the lid to pick up on it.
Yeah.
And this particular one here, the ribbon, which is the blue necklace, I call it, I guess, that goes around there. Actually, I was given from the family of Art Jackson, a local Medal of Honor recipient, and that was his ribbon, and they were nice enough to give it to me. We use this for display and for me to fit it around to make sure it's the right size when I make one. And then instead of the medal on there, that is a challenge coin of Art's that we use for taking our pictures, and then we take this to display it. And the Medal of Honor Society also has pictures of this, and I'm on their website. It's a private website for them.
Yeah, I mean, this is just absolutely exquisite. I mean, and having it, I mean, it looks beautiful on the picture, but to see it here in person, again, it's...
And inside there's, I think there's 20 pins. You see a few of them outside there.
Right.
And the pins go with these when we send them over to the recipient. And the pins are made out of scraps of wood off this whatever particular urn we're making. So they have those to give out to gifts, whoever they want to.
Wow.
So like family members and
yeah, well, it's up to them. You know, I mean, that's what my thinking is.
Yeah.
But you know, you can control this only so much. You give it away, and then away it goes from there.
Wives, girlfriends,
never
both at once, or maybe by then it doesn't matter.
You know, sometimes I don't want to know where they went.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's up to them.
Spouse, lovers, boyfriends, husbands. It doesn't matter.
When you come up with these ideas, you can only push them so far and control so much.
Yeah, you know? After that, it's up to the family.
Yeah. But I tell you, the really gratifying part about this is getting to know the families. And have you seen, and I don't think I'm talking out of turn here, but we do watch what we say about the Medal of Honor Society. You've watched the movie Forrest Gump?
Yeah.
Okay. And so that was Sammy Davis, that when Tom Hanks is receiving the medal from Johnson, that's actually Sammy Davis, and they put Tom Hanks's head on him. And that's actually his ceremony. And
in the scene you're talking about, in the scene where he receives the medal.
Yeah, in the scene where he's receiving that's actually Sammy Davis, and Tom Hanks's head was put on for the movie. Sammy Davis and Dixie, his wife, were here 2 summers ago, and they were doing a meet and greet and here for about a week, and they were nice enough to come over to our house on Sunday and hang around for a while, and that's pretty special.
That is super special.
Yeah, to have that kind of stuff. Woody, who was 96, we did one for him, and I still hear from these people at Christmas and that kind of stuff. And Woody is just great to talk to. I've never met him, but we talk probably twice a year, and that's a great relationship to have with these people.
Outstanding.
Yeah, it's fun.
Now, what kind of wood are you using for these, and how long does it take you just to make one?
This is Paduke, the red one. It'll darken with age, and I started making those, and that is all we use for the Medal of Honor Society. The other one, the far one from me, is made out of walnut, and we will use black walnut for the most part. Once in a while I'll have some California walnut come in, but most of it's always Eastern black walnut. And I don't share with the time it takes to make those.
Fair enough.
It is probably 10% of what people think it takes. I've just made so many of them now that it is just, let's put it this way, I can have one of those done in a day on the thing and still have time to have coffee and eat breakfast and everything. So, but I've just made so many, and that's what I do. I mean, I do this for a living, so and I have the tooling to do it. And you know, once you sort of figure this out and that out, you know, the first one probably took me 3 days, and then we slowly got it down and found new tools and new ways to do it that they just go a lot faster.
What about the design? What does the design have any meaning? I mean, there's a lot of...
It's just the wave. I mean, we call it the wave, and just as a way to describe it. But woodworking, you're always taught to make straight lines, good joints, and a defined curve. And I just got tired of it. I just didn't want to do it anymore. I think you had the opportunity to sit in one of our chairs.
Yes.
And those are just simply an expression of no straight lines, don't know what I'm going to do when I start them, and not sure what I did when I got done with them. And those chairs will lose probably anywhere from 40 to 60% of their weight by the time we're done with them. And so there's more on the floor a lot of times than what we started with. But it gives the artistic part of it. And that's what I want to do now, is have fun with that.
Yeah, I mean, they're just absolutely beautiful.
What are the things?
You can't not tell. I mean, it is wood, but like the curves and the design and just the lines is just continuous. And it's just so nice to look at.
There's two different parts when you make that kind of stuff. One is sort of the protocol of how to make joints and do stuff, and how to do it right and timely. And then the other side is the artistic part of it. And so those two sort of come together there on the thing. And so you have to spend years understanding how to put the stuff together. And then you can use your artistic part of it, because, you know, it lets you do a lot more with a piece of wood once you've worked with it enough.
Well, personal question, Scott. And John, you're going to have to forgive me because this might be a little grim. I have to ask though, is your wife going to be watching this? She's not going to be watching this, let's be real. Okay.
She probably will.
No, she could care less about me. She's like, oh, hi, man. Rolls her eyes. I'm kidding. She's a first-class type lady. You are, Kirsten. She's awesome. She's really cool.
We are both lucky to have the wives we have. You know,
yes, you are.
It's so nice to marry women that are so much smarter than we are. It just makes life easier on the thing.
And patient.
She doesn't laugh at my memes, though. We gotta fix that.
But she needs to pick up her game. Or maybe you need to get better at your meme game.
Good. Yeah.
So, I have a very, I don't want to say like comfortable relationship with this subject matter, but you know, we all go someday. We all go someday. Would it be weird? I shouldn't say would it be weird. That's not the question. The real question is, will you ever work with John and have one of these made for yourself while we still have John? Is that something that you ever be interested in?
I mean, I may do it just for fun, you know, more than anything else. And the reason I say that is because, like, I don't know if I'm going to be cremated or not yet.
Right.
You
Okay.
know?
That's
it's like,
fair.
And you bring that up. I mean, like my wife Kristen is very adamant. She knows right away. Like, yeah, like I'm being cremated. It's a waste to bury a whole body. It takes up space. Blah blah blah. She's got kind of a laundry list of reasons for this.
She's not wrong, by the way.
Yeah, not at all. I wouldn't contest that.
Right.
And for me, it's more like. I don't know yet. You know, there's something about like the traditional kind of casket burial and everything that I still kind of like am intrigued by, I guess you could say. So I haven't made the decision yet, but I mean, at the very least, it would give me an excuse to hang out and shoot the shit with John and build something. And you know, worst case scenario, I come out of the other end with a cool box.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and trust me, like I've been building boxes with John for a long fucking time. You know, so I have like I got boxes, you know, and all over my house of like stuff that I've built, right? And we use them for jewelry boxes. I use them to like, you know, house like PlayStation and Xbox controllers.
Yeah,
you know,
the Scooby snacks.
Yeah. I mean, it's great to have. I mean, they're not. I mean, obviously these are like a notch above the ones that like John and I make, because ours don't kind of have like the wave in it, or you know, the special, obviously like the special sand or leaves or anything like that.
Right.
But yeah, I would leverage that more than anything, I guess, just for more time to just, you know, be in the shop.
Yeah.
It's fun to hang out.
And spend time with John.
What you need to come over and experience yourself.
John, it's going to be so much better once I'm there. I know I know Scott's family, but oh man, are you in for a treat when you come over?
No, it'll be fun.
I'm incredibly humble. I don't know if you noticed.
Well, you did a good job on the pens the other day.
Well, thank you. That's because you were there, you're keeping me honest.
Yeah.
I appreciate you taking all the pictures and all the video. That was fun. Actually, speaking of, I'll see. I'll share that. We'll have some of that in this episode.
You got some pictures while you're there, didn't you?
Sweet baby James in the back can make it happen. As I'm talking right now, there's probably going to be some video of my goofy ass making the pens, and it's just going to be absolutely
did you hook him
beautiful.
up with the video?
I'm going to now.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, I still have it on my phone.
I thought I brought a list of the people who had done the pins along with you, and I don't have it here with me.
That's quite all right.
But I'll try to. Ken Rogers, who was a Marine at Quezon, he's done a very good film. They have a new film coming out. He's came over and done one. Mike Masterson, who has the Veterans News Network newspaper that comes out, if you're not familiar with it. So he came over and made one. And so it's just, we have one of the guides to the Warhawk Museum coming over tomorrow morning. He'll make one, and he was a forward air controller in Vietnam. So these are people that are military people that I've got to know, and we have them come over and like you, and they make a pen. And I think it makes it all that much more special, and that'll be on the card when we donate those to the Medal of Honor recipients who made all of these on the back of the card.
That's awesome.
They think it's pretty cool.
It is. It is a really big deal. And of course, that's quite a list of names you got there.
Well, there's some neat people on it.
I was able to squeeze in.
It's nice to call them all friends.
That's wonderful.
That's the good part of it.
Well, thank you. And thank you, Scott, for answering such a personal question.
Yeah, absolutely. No worries.
That thing. But don't be wasteful. Just get cremated so you can be inside the box.
well, the trend now nationwide is between 60 and 70% of the people get cremated now. It's
really? I didn't know that.
It's so much more cost effective.
Uh-huh.
And like, what are you going to do? I mean, like for me, like all my organs are going to go to science, the rest of my body too, and like, donate it. So some kid in some college can like learn how to be a doctor. I'm cool with that. Everything else can just get burned. And then the beauty about being cremated is like when my kids are having game night, I can be there with them. So I'm going to put it as part of my will and testament and trust that, when I'm cremated, my sons get to take turn. And if it's game night, I got to be there.
So when they like get old enough to start drinking and they spill it.
I'm not going to
You got Dad all over you.
No.
Somebody pick Dad up off the floor.
Oh, man. I miss you, Scott. But no, I just thought it was kind of cool, I just like, I've been thinking about that ever since I met you, John. And it's like, man, I always knew I was going to be cremated, but now I'm really going to get cremated.
Well, we can fix you up with that.
I would love nothing more than to make a box with you someday.
How Scotty would feel about making his own. How would you feel about making your own?
I will be ecstatic.
Yeah, we'll be happy to have you come over.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's something where it's just natural. Not necessarily has to do anything with like being brave or having no fear. I certainly wouldn't want to leave untimely. I would want to maximize my time with my family and my friends and my loved ones. But I like to take away any of those decisions away from my immediate family when the time comes.
Do them now.
And they're, and as of right now, there's very specific instructions. Like for my stuff, like Madeline will not have to like, oh my gosh, like what's going to be more significant? She's just going to be able to mourn and move on and upgrade to a far better looking, more successful, younger husband at that time. So, and my kids are not going to have to worry about that because they'll know that what happens is exactly what I wanted. And I'm hoping that when the time comes for them, that's how they do it.
One of the things that's we learned early on there's no rules when it comes to urns. But we will provide an urn to a family. And they will use, a lot of times the ashes want to be spread somewhere. And so they use our urn just for the ceremony. And then they will spread the loved one's ashes wherever they want to do. And then they keep it. And the next family member that passes, they use the same urn again for the same ceremony. And it gets to be sort of a tradition of using that urn.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Scott, were you there at my last birthday party, prior to COVID?
Maybe.
Or were you busy working, being a responsible human being? Yeah. So John, for my birthday, prior to COVID, I would just have a custom cake made in the shape of a penis. With little arms flexing. and a USMC tattoo on his chest. It's the most wonderful thing. My wife hates it.
Yeah, understandably.
Yeah, understandably. A lot of people show up and they're just like so very confused, you know, and like.
I mean, I have seen the penis cakes before.
The penis cake, right? It's just pretty cool. It's just like a thing, you know. Some people will get uncomfortable and they just forget. Like the military is just highly homoerotic. I'm like, get comfortable with it. But maybe I can do something like that with the urn. So it's just really, really.
Yeah.
But then
we'll keep my wife out of the shop.
Okay, but we'll pass it down to my children and my grandchildren. And, you know, they don't have to keep my ashes. By then, you're right. But the El Chichi, my youngest, would have spilled it by then, and Napoleon would have eaten it. But
like, because you want it to be like, you don't want like Madeline to feel like she has to hide it, right? So like maybe what you could do is have a secret compartment, or like you lift the lid up and then there's the dick. You know, like you have a dick compartment.
Listen,
you know?
Life's too short for secret dick compartments. Okay. It's all in or nothing. And as a matter of fact, I'll even probably go and put it on the trust and change it. Like if my children want to participate on anything that we might be passing down, that needs to be changing from son to another every 6 months. On full display, attorney needs to be able to see it.
In the living room, on the shelf.
And then he just passes this on to my grandchildren. You're welcome, family.
We could make that happen.
We will. It's going to be great. We'll invite Kenny and he'll make a film out of it. Check it out, Ken. Quick, short film, 15-minute documentary. Anyway, that's enough of that nonsense.
Sorry, John's like, well, no, I gotta be careful who I share this video with.
If we put this on our website, will you be insulted if we edit a little bit of it out?
It's gonna hurt a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. We're just like, you know, just put like some custom work. You know, you got the hidden menu. You can just say you share the password and then you can click on it.
Then you can get on it.
Okay. Daggone Marines, dude. I apologize, John.
No. I think it's great.
I think it's a great idea too.
It's just how to sell it on the thing.
And you know what the wonderful thing is? My wife doesn't watch this at all, so she'll never know.
Well, yeah, and just also know, John, that any representatives from the Medal of Honor Society, especially Marines, will take joy in any dick jokes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's all part of the program.
It doesn't matter how old you are.
It's a generational thing. It's quite the proud lineage and heritage of...
When I get a hold of this, I'll send it to Woody so Woody can see it on the thing. Yeah, he'll enjoy it. He'll enjoy it.
Wonderful. This was not the direction that this episode was, but at the same time, I'm not surprised. Thank you, Scott. Thank you. Oh man!
Well, thank you guys for your service in the Marines.
You know, Scott had nothing better else to do, and and I needed to do something too. So and here we are. But no, we appreciate the sentiment, and all jokes aside, that means a lot.
If you were going to tell a story about you and I and your Marines, was when I sent you the syrup. I always enjoyed that.
Oh yeah, it was actually. I mean, do you want me to tell a quick story?
I do want to tell. That's why you guys are here.
So. 2004, Operation Iraqi Freedom 2. I was in country as part of the SOC detachment for the 31st MU. And so this was around kind of the time where, you know, Phantom Fury was going on. Stuff was kind of really crazy in country. And we were everything kind of had passed over through the fall and gotten closer to Christmas time. And we were going to be in country over Christmas. And so my mom got a bunch of people together, and she called it like Operation Recon Santa, and they sent us just a tremendous amount of, you know, snacks, candy, homemade treats and goods. Like a football at the time that was like signed by all the players of BSU. Like everyone in my platoon got like BSU T-shirts and stuff like that. And then John's sole contribution to Operation Recon Santa was this like big jug of maple syrup. And so I found this. I'm like, what is this? You know, and it was like oddly like this. It had been sealed with wax, which I'm like, this is okay. This is obviously been tampered with. And I opened it up, and it was just like, I think it was just straight up whiskey.
It was Crown Royal.
It was Crown
Royal.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, and I remember just because none of us had anything, and I'm surprised it made it through. To be frank, I mean, I don't know how they didn't like X-ray that shit or something. But yeah, and so anyways, we went into the Connex boxes and just like hung out and cracked that thing open.
Yeah.
And I just remember like taking maybe a little drink this size, right? And I was just out.
Yeah.
I was in the pocket, of nothing, right?
Yeah.
And I think I had a nice set of like Bose headphones on that deployment, and I think I broke them that night because I got drunk and stumbled and they fell off my head and snapped. But, I appreciated that gift.
These are the type of things as an uncle you can be proud of.
Absolutely. That is a fantastic story. I was able, something similar like that happened. Oh man, where was I in 2004? Fallujah. Yeah, I was in Fallujah. Yeah, in 2004, I was in Fallujah, 3rd Battalion for Marine Regiment. And when I received it in a bottle of Listerine.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
But like the original Listerine, not the blue kind or whatever. But there was no wax seal on that. They just went ahead and just like, okay, Jesus takes the wheel. They just closed the lid. So you crack it on and that's it. And he made it. He made it, and it was something else. I was terrified because I was a brand new Marine, so I was just like, oh my gosh. But it was like the greatest thing ever. I made that thing last.
I bet you made some friends, too.
I did. It was, everybody gets to share. Everybody gets to share. So it was a very fortunate team. So whenever we were not in patrol, we got a tiny bit of R&R, which was just like a corner of concrete somewhere. Like, okay, this is it, just a little. Let's go to sleep.
A little Listerine.
Just a little. It's a little Listerine. It's no big deal. That's a great story. Well done, John.
Thank you.
Neato.
Thank you. Well, I'm trying to keep favorite uncle status.
Is there like a hard competition? Because it doesn't seem like that.
More my dad.
Okay, there you go. Perhaps that's what it is. Oh, man. Oh, well. So, Scotty, your time over at 3rd Recon, the whole time, Okinawa, and then you were able to get that deployment. And then after that, it was just your time to transition out? You were just ready to rock and roll?
More or less, yeah. I mean, it was towards the tail end of my enlistment. I went to the Philippines once more and
nice.
And did a parachute package there. And that's always, going to the Philippines is always fun. Hanging out with the Phil Mars and the Phil Seals are always cool. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever went to the Philippines.
I never did, yeah.
Yeah, they do some crazy stuff.
So I did go to Okinawa, and it's just the most glorious 3 months of my time. God, that's really difficult, but it's definitely top 2. A lot of people did not like Okinawa because of all the restrictions, and they didn't want Marines to get in trouble. And like just during the time that I was there, oh gosh, I know. Hopefully I don't butcher this, but I think it was like November of 2003 until late January or mid-February. I can't recall, but I remember spending my first Christmas as a Marine and my first New Year's as a Marine there in Okinawa, Japan.
Where, like Hansen or Schwab?
Schwab. Yeah, right on the water. Yeah, Schwab. Like, it was just absolutely stunning. It was so beautiful. And a lot of the guys, I was a little bit older, John. I joined in when I was 23. A lot of my peers joined, like, at 18. I had my buddy Schultz. He joined when he was 17.
You were 12 years in? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I started, my service was 12 years. Yeah. So 2003 till 2015. So, and it was a great experience, too. I was talking to a friend not long ago, because this doesn't happen very often. But a lot of the guys that I served with on my first 4 years and then some were guys that I actually we've been together since boot camp.
Oh, okay.
So I was very privileged in my career for having, when you're friends, you're friends. You have your camaraderie and you have your brothers. But like some of these guys go way back when we were like civilians and going through the transformation of becoming a Marine. And to have that much time together through boot camp, and then going to the same School of Infantry, and then from School of Infantry just going all to the exact same unit, and then going to that same exact unit and doing 2 and 3 deployments together to Iraq during that time. It was wild. We clicked like really, really, really well throughout all 4 years, and you know, for not all of us, but most of us still keep in touch. Yeah. And then as I transitioned from 3-4 and I tried out and ended up in MARSOC, some of those guys, not necessarily from boot camp, but there's some guys from the same unit over at 3-4 made it over there. So it still continued that camaraderie all the way through. So it's pretty neat, and it's very unique because with Marines, especially during a time of war, at least like the GWAT, you know, what we experience, it's just a lot of mix and match, and everybody comes from everywhere. And then like, oh, here's the FNGs. There's like a dozen of them, and they just get all spread out all over the place. But we were all together, like there was dozens of us. It's a pretty incredible experience. It's pretty neat. So I'm blessed.
Awesome.
Yeah. You jealous?
I have kind of a similar story where it's like I didn't go follow folks through boot camp, but like SOI to like deployments.
That's
and
pretty neat.
like we went through like selection, like SOI selection, like pre BRC, BRC, and then third recon deployments.
But
like,
that's huge, especially within the recon community. I mean, that's a big deal because you guys,
totally.
once you're in the reconnaissance community, John, you just don't leave.
Yeah.
At least not during that time. And if you were going to go anywhere, then you go to MARSOC.
Exactly.
And in the beginning of MARSOC, you just got pulled out of MARSOC. And
can you tell people what MARSOC means?
Marine Special Operations Command.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I try not to say that.
Yeah,
Thank you, John.
Okay.
You noticed. Way to go. Well played. Well played. Moving on.
That's my part in this thing. Yeah.
So, John, a lot of history, a lot of great, cool stories, but one of my favorite things when I go and I visit you at your beautiful home, we get done, we're rushing a little bit because I didn't have that much time, I apologize. But you're showing me your beautiful home, which clearly has a lot of woodwork.
Yeah.
You know, wonder why.
That's what we do.
Yeah, exactly. And all of a sudden, you so like nonchalantly, like, oh, here's this desk that used to be on the Capitol building. Oh, and here's this glass stained window that came from, I don't know, where
it came out of the Capitol building.
Yeah, Capitol building. Why do you have Capitol building furniture?
Well, I think as an artist, when you look at stuff, it has maybe a different value. I mean, I can see stuff in my mind, what to do with it and stuff. And so, and with the history, and I think a lot of that comes from where we're, you know, native Idahoans and all this kind of stuff. You just sort of gravitate towards being able to collect it if you can, if the opportunity comes up. And so that's sort of where it came from. I mean,
there's that, but he's also like part of like this like good old boy like Boise group too,
Thank you.
right? I mean, that's I translate like the native Idahoan to like, you know, John would probably have lots of pals at Graney's back in the day that would be able to hook him up with all kinds of cool shit.
Well, back in the days of Graney's, I had a lifetime pass to the door. I mean, and so they just don't give those away. You got to earn that stuff.
Right.
This is not what we should be talking about.
So anybody watching Graney's, is it? Gosh, has Graney's been around? Graney's been around that long?
Oh, it's yeah. And there's stories there we won't go into, but
right, absolutely.
It's we shouldn't even be going down this.
It's a bar, Idaho. It's a bar. If you're new to Idaho and you're watching this, or you're not from around here, it's a bar downtown.
I think it's still open.
It's very much open.
It
It's still upstairs and downstairs, and it's just same. It was when I turned 21, and it was around the time to like. During the summer or the holidays, you always run into all your high school friends there.
Absolutely.
And I still think you do from like way back in the day. You like subtract 30 years and it's still like, oh, these are your high school friends. I was like, you're 60. What are you doing here? How do you think, oh, where am I? Just having a good time. I was like, all right, way to go, Graney's. Among other places. The Stagecoach also have quite the illustrious history. And
it does.
It's great.
That's
great.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize Stagecoach.
Oh, no, Stagecoach. I mean, a lot of local government policy was Dominus Dominus right there.
Oh, yeah.
Did I say that right? That's Latin.
Sure.
I'm just going to go around with it. So that's quite the... But yes, you're very well networked, John.
Well, it just comes from being here for 70 years
For
now.
70
But
years.
It was, and you just look for the stuff. When it comes up, you know, put yourself in a position to be able to get a hold of it if you can, and sit on it for a while till you figure out what to do with it. But it's, the windows like in our sunroom are from where Whole Foods is now, and there used to be a building for Forest Service and Fish and Game, I believe, and they tore those down. I was able to get the windows. And it just makes for a nice history, and it makes for a great room. You were in the room.
Yeah, it was
on the night.
absolutely beautiful. Everything in the house is stunning, and you can tell, I can tell that you had your hand on it.
You know, it's the other thing. It keeps you out of the bars.
I guess
and
so,
everything.
yeah. You bring the bar home.
Yeah.
Keep it stocked.
Yeah, we like to do that.
That's really cool. Oh, my children are very fortunate. You know, you are teaching Scott, you know, woodwork, and I'm teaching my children how to put Legos together. It's all the same thing.
Yeah, it is.
It's not the same.
It is actually the same thing.
It's absolutely not, John, but thank you. You're being very kind.
No, it is. That's how kids learn.
I mean, I'm building a mini shop in my backyard, and you're just down the street, so you
Yeah.
got to come over more, and we'll just build stuff.
Oh, I have to come over more. Oh. I'll have you know, John. If Scott Soar starts going through messages and texts, he would think that he's being stalked. I was like, "What's Jaime? What does he want?
What
he wants to
doing?
hang out and all this other stuff." And then he passes blame to his wife. I was like, "Oh man, like." She's
Well,
like,
Heidi and I appreciate the fact you came by the house.
well,
And
thank
know you're
you,
welcome
thank you.
anytime.
And she was very nice. She scared the living bejesus out of me. I was like, she's right there.
Hiding behind her door.
Very serious lady, and then also she's got this big warm smile. I was like,
Now she's going to be watching this.
Oh no! Yeah, just thank you. I would like to come back. You have a wonderful home. No, that's great. Well, you guys.
One more story, if you have the time for it.
We have all the time. I was going to touch on something, but we have all the time, John.
On one of the first urns we did, which really motivated me to do more with this program, was if you're familiar with the WASP from World War II, they flew the airplanes around the United States, and they weren't allowed into Arlington National Cemetery because they said they weren't officially part of the military program.
Right.
And Elaine Harmon wanted to be interned at Arlington, and they had been up to that point. Well, the family went to have their ceremony there, and they said they're no longer allowed in. And so the Harmon family went to Washington, D.C., and had a bill done. They lived in Washington, D.C., and they're pretty smart individuals, and they were able to get legislation through in 8 months that said the WASP have to be let back in there. And well, I saw this on TV, and I didn't know if I should intrude into somebody's family or not, but I was able to get a hold of Aaron Miller's number, the grandchild, and asked Aaron, would you guys like an urn? And they took us up on it, and we've developed a very good relationship with the family, and they were so supportive of us. And so when it came time for the ceremony, they invited us back there. And it was on nationwide TV on every channel. And where you have no children, and your urn's on TV, it's like the same thing. And so we got to go to this ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery, got to meet the staff at Arlington, the Army people and stuff, and we were very well received and encouraged to do what we do. And then we got to go back to the hotel room and go from channel to channel and see your urn on there. And that was one of our sort of special stories that really meant a lot to us.
That's fantastic.
And I was... Terry Harmon, I just spoke to her today, actually, on the phone. So
wow.
We still get to... and Aaron Miller, the granddaughter, wrote a book and actually put my name in it. So, you have the name in a book, I guess, is always a good thing.
Yeah, here and there.
He's big time now.
Yeah, he's big time. I like it. Yeah.
But the whole thing about this has just been so much fun and gratifying. The people we get to meet and hang around with,
Man. No, okay, we're going to go down to a different rabbit hole now.
Okay.
It's very related. So question to you, John. With all this work that you're doing, Everlasting Tree and whatnot, you're very active. You're doing all these things. What's the legacy, and will it continue after you're gone?
The two things that will be my legacy, and I think you think about these more as a woodworker than an artist, are the fact that on our veterans urns, the walnut one there, we now have, don't track it close as I should, but we have between 65 and 70 urns in federal and state cemeteries. And we're in 14 states. There's an urn like that in the Punch Bowl in Hawaii and in Alaska at the federal cemeteries there, in the state cemeteries. And the rocking chairs I build, I think they're of a high enough quality that people won't be throwing them out when they're done with them. They'll go down in families and stuff.
Right.
And most of those are being held for I call them the kids here, the nephews, and that kind of stuff. So we don't sell those anymore. They're just enough to probably take care of the family. So
nice.
That's sort of a legacy to leave behind on the thing that you can feel good about.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. It's just, it gets to live on. And
Yeah,
stays
and
in the
the
family.
urns are really special for us that way, because it's just they've got ingrained in. There's the bottom piece of paper there, the email.
Yes.
If you want to read that.
I do. Thank you for positioning this.
That is our target customer in the federal cemetery system. And this is a gentleman who called me one day, had seen one of our urns. He had worked up through the cemetery system as a federal employee, and had been transferred to the new director of the Pikes Peak deal.
So, bear with me, guys, the accent. So, it reads, John, I have finally had an opportunity to photograph the ceremonial urn cover being used at a committal service. So far, this urn cover is used almost every day and sometimes multiple times per day. The reaction from the families when they present us a plastic urn, then see what we use this beautiful box to display it, is incredible. My staff and our customers have all requested that I thank you and your staff for donating this urn cover. So, from all of us at Pikes Peak National Cemetery, thank you very much for a generous donation.
That is our target customer right there. That's what we want to be able to do on the thing.
Well, that's something else. That's something else, John. Cheers to you. Cheers to you.
Thank you.
We're out of whiskey, Scott. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that would have been the moment.
I was wondering, can I count as one of your staff?
You are the staff. You're it.
Well, again, thank you for answering such a personal question, and then for reminding me about this email. Because this is wonderful, and it's really cool to share. And when I was asking about legacy, I wasn't trying to put any pressure on you or Scott, but when we no longer have John's sword, then Everlasting Tree comes to an end.
Yeah, I would think so. I'm not looking at building up a company or anything. We had to have a name for it and do that kind of stuff. So that was the purpose of that. I think it's a LLC or something for whatever accounting reasons and that go on that kind of stuff. And we were happy with the name, and if the name goes away, that's okay. Scotty can have it if he wants it on that thing. But it was.
I mean, yeah, you have a legacy, obviously, with the tangible things that you contributed to society, John. But I mean, you can't ignore the fact of the legacy in your family and the things that you've taught me. I mean, you've given me skills of being able to be confident and build, and I'm an engineer by trade. I write code, but the things that you've taught me are not only applicable there, but I take it and build things. I'm building a huge shop. I've done a bunch of remodels. I wouldn't have been able to do that without you. And I'm going to pass that on to my kids too.
You understand, but our relationship really is built more on the fact that we got close enough now when your dad says, I called Scotty, he didn't call me back. I says, that's no problem. I'll call him. He calls me back. You don't know what that is.
He's going to watch this.
You don't know what that is worth as my brother to go, and do that. I mean, it's just,
excellent.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well played, John.
One of the other things I'd like to mention here, you're talking about legacy and how this goes on.
Yeah.
The two businessmen I work for, one of them was very active in the community, and he was instrumental in starting Funzie and in the Festival of Trees and the Bishop Kelly auction. And I got to watch that go on in the conference rooms and at work and all that kind of stuff. And how, when those people would meet, when they would start these things going, how they were all laughing and have fun with it. And you just learn that, it can be fun to give back. It can be enjoyable, and you can get people together and do it. When the monument people that had the Ellison brothers that had the quarry. I worked there for 2 summers, and he was the chief potentate one of the Shriners. And he was an excellent example of, there again, learning how to, anybody can give back. And yet if you just sort of keep that on your slate, you know, when the opportunity comes up, which we had this, you know, you saw a good fit for it, you know.
You hear that, Scott?
Is that too sappy?
No, it's not sappy, because this now, like, you know, you say that, now I can look at Scott, and it's like, next project that I have at home, you need to get your ass over to my place.
You can always hit me up.
Yeah.
Freaking get back.
I mean, so like John is like my bat signal when things would go down, and like now I'm finding like I have friends that like hey dude, I got this door I got to put in, and I don't know what I'm doing. Can you come over here and help? And I'm like, yeah. Now I've put in like a bunch of doors where I used to call you for door help.
It's actually very impressive, because every time, the few times that, you know, that I'm allowed over at this sort of household, depending on him and his wife are discussing, are we going to let Jaime come in here? Is he bringing his children? Oh, his wife is coming? Okay. But like I show up.
We love your kids, by the way.
I love your kids. That's something else right there. That has marriage written all over it. It's just so high energy children, all 4 of them. But no, I will go to Scott's house, and sometimes, you know, unannounced, because otherwise I don't get to see him.
Right.
And like I show up, and like now, like there used to be a wall there, now the whole wall is gone, and then like the floor is gone, and he's like looking to pour concrete, and he's just moving studs and putting wood all over the place, and I said, oh, I'm just figuring out this wiring. I'm like, no, man, like you're gonna take out like the block's power. Like, what do you think you're doing? But he's alone and unafraid. Just a one-man show, like doing all the things, and to me that's really impressive.
When he started doing that, I said, you know, you need to go for it, you know. But if you have a problem, there's not much that we can't fix. So don't be restrained on doing that. Go after it, and we can always fix it.
And I repeat that to a lot of my friends. Seriously, like there's nothing that you can do that we can't like get ourselves out of.
Yeah.
Fun fact too. The house that they were living, we were looking at the house to purchase.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, we almost got it. And I'm glad we didn't, because like the vision and like the work and everything they have done, that house just looks absolutely beautiful. It would be nice to get invited over every once in a while, so like our families go hang out as much as they want to hang out.
What I like about it is it's close to the depot, which is, you know, I spent so much time up there as a kid on the thing. We were growing up in their gardens, waiting for Dad to get off work to ride home with him. So it was
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel a real connection to the depot bench because of like Grandpa and you and Dad.
Yeah, Scott's father, my brother, was a section foreman for the railroad too. So he kept his tools and all that kind of stuff, and had the keys to the building all the time. Which are stories we can't go into, but
of course, that's for a separate day.
But it was all in all that depot building. We've been in every corner of that on the thing, to the bell tower, to when the bells are going on.
We're gonna do just a John Source series. So.
I'll shut up so you can get into it.
No, you don't know. I didn't mean it. I'm being like really serious. I'm just gonna end up having to hang out with you because Scott doesn't want to hang out, so it's okay.
Well, you're welcome anytime.
Thank you.
The only rule we have at the house is everybody leaves with their fingers.
Okay,
if it's too dangerous, I do it, and then you can go on.
I would appreciate that. Yeah, so it would be a darn shame to come back after all those years doing the other line of work.
It's the wives and mothers that really get mad at me, I'm afraid, if that ever happens.
No, that's quite all right. That's quite all right. Nobody will lose their fingers, and you know, and if we're drinking, the shop is closed, so no big deal.
Well, actually, there's that sweet point when you're drinking out there that it just seems like you do better work sometimes, but we shouldn't be putting that.
Some people refer to that as the Balmer curve.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's actually it's based off the former CEO and like head of engineering Steve Ballmer at Microsoft, and I forget like. It's a very steep bell curve where when you start, you get maybe like a beer or two in to writing code. You just are in a super good flow state and very productive. And then right when you kind of cross that threshold of, let's call it beer 3, that's when things swiftly go downhill.
It's very, very steep. All right. Well, it's good to know.
We believe in that.
We'll keep it at PBRs.
Yeah.
It'll be okay.
There you go.
I don't know. And it's like, I don't think it's going to be a seltzer thing. We just keep it at PBRs. I have a question for you, John, before we start wrapping up, and then you'll get to repeat yourself all over again, just for the sake of like making sure that everybody's got the information that they need. I was telling you about my friend Jenny Oliver. Hello, Jenny. Over in Spokane, she's a funeral director. She's kicking ass and taking names and just helping families and people during like some of the most challenging times in their lives. She's incredibly good at what she does, and that they are very, very lucky to have her. Why do I say all this? I introduced her, to your program. She's not at a federal cemetery, it's a private outfit or whatnot. Somebody like her has a veteran family and they would like to do something special like this. What do they do? Where does she go to? What does she need to do?
Well, what she can do is just call the cemetery in Spokane, and I believe his name is Rudy. Very nice guy. And,
Rudy?
And he'll ask if they have that available, and they will say they do. And that just makes it so much easier for the families. And that's the way we like to approach it. If you could take the lid off and just pull the strap up a little bit, that'll bring the urn up that shows people this is what so often comes from the mortuary. And that's why we designed these, is just so that box could have somewhere to be placed in dignity for the ceremony. And then they can easily pull it back out after the ceremony, and they'll place it in the wall, or sometimes they spread it in the gardens and stuff. And this gives veterans a way to have a dignified ceremony without spending a lot of money. However, we find that here they keep an actual log of how many people that have used each one of these. And it's getting a reputation that people want, and it's not a money issue. They want to follow the tradition of being using one of our urns.
Gotcha.
And that's gratifying to know that they're that well received.
Cool. Thank you. All right. Before we let you guys go, I'm sure your wife wants to see you. Mine doesn't, but that's okay. She's still good. She gets no choice in the matter anyways. All right, you got your own camera over here. Just tell the people back at home.
Anyone that sees this knows here we certainly have 3 of these urns in Boise. But if you're out of state or somewhere else and you have a state or federal cemetery in your area and you'd like to have one of these, just simply contact your cemetery and they can contact us and we will provide them an urn.
Everlasting Tree, you can always go to their website, www.everlastingtree.com. John Sword, Scotty Tuhati, Scott Sword, thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure sharing stories and having this time with you, John and Scott. Thank you for
It's been a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you for your authenticity and your willingness to share with all of us. And for you guys at home, thank you for watching. Again, please subscribe to the channel, like the content, feel free to send us some feedback. And Idaho, when you get a chance, get out there and be kind to somebody. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Cheers.
All right, folks, we are going to get started. Week 2 of our stretch and recovery day. Okay, so probably, hopefully, myself, hopefully for you guys, it's one of your favorite days. Just again, that chance to block everything out that's going on around us, and just tune in to our bodies. What is it saying? What is it needing? And giving us kind of that rest and recovery type of thing. So with that, we just wanted to start, like I like all my stretches, just with a check-in. Okay, so whatever you guys did this week, if you got after it, if maybe you missed a couple workouts, no matter what it is, kind of just take a second to take inventory. So whatever that means to you, just take a couple knee hugs, kind of close your eyes, just think, okay, am I sore anywhere? A couple squats, whatever you want to do, just take a moment to check in with your body to see how it feels now, because then afterwards it's kind of fun to do those same tests and see what changes were made. Okay, so take a few moments just to kind of take inventory, see what it's about. I like just doing a couple knee hugs, see how easily I can bring my knees up. And once you have that idea, all you'll really need today, hopefully you already have it. If you need a pad or extra padding, I have my AirX here because I don't have a yoga mat. If you have a yoga mat, you should be good. But for the most part, won't need any equipment or anything like that. All right, so let's get into that quiet and relaxed state of mind. We're going to start with just checking our bodies. And with our bodies, hands on the ribs, stand up nice and tall. Let's take a deep breath in. And exhale. Good. Feel that those shoulders just drop down. Breathing in. And exhale. Feeling your body stand nice and tall. Deep breath in. And exhale. Just following that air going in and out of the lungs. Now with your hands by your side, I want you to keep your eyes closed during the duration of these next couple exercises, and let's just focus on our feet, okay? Where those feet are meeting contact with the ground and how that weight is being placed right now. So just kind of take an inventory from your heels to your toes, feel around. Where's that weight being placed? Are you kind of slumped to one side? Are you over your toes? Are you rocking back? Take a note of that, okay? And now we're just going to play around with it, keeping your eyes closed. If you feel like you lose balance, try to, you can open your eyes or have something nearby. But we're just going to start gently rocking as far forward on those toes as we can, get an idea of what that feels like, and then just slowly rocking backwards onto our heels. So from the side, just gently rocking backwards and forwards. As you do a couple of those, we're just going to kind of gauge where that center point is and have your feet perfectly evened out as you stop that swing right in the center, okay? And then the next one, we're just going to go side to side. So now we're just going to lean. How far can we lean on the left leg and the right leg? Again, keeping your eyes closed if possible. Feeling that weight just get distributed different ways. And then we're just going to calibrate and meet right in the middle. Nice and even. Okay, then the last one here, we're going to just start to swirl. You can go clockwise or counterclockwise, kind of rocking around, feeling those toes and calves working, grabbing at the ground. See how it handles the weight placement at different positions. And if you imagine from the top view, you're just swirling around, slowly making your way to dead center. And right about there, okay? And then let's just start to go the other way, working big circles first, just feeling that weight moving around, focusing on your feet. Breathe in. And settling in the middle. Okay, we are grounded, feeling where our feet are at right beneath us, should be feeling centered. And just again, that 2 minutes of just taking that time to just focus internally kind of shuts down the rest of the world, shuts off those stimuluses. So now I don't know about you, but I feel in a lot better place to stretch out, okay? So let's start with our warm-up. Starting with our chin circles or neck circles again. We're going to work top down. Tuck your chin. Big, big stretch to the side. I'm just dropping my ear to my shoulder. Slowly coming back. Again, any of these cause you pain or discomfort more than just your normal stretch sensation? Either stop or don't push it that far. Just taking what our body's going to give us today. I'm slowly working around. And I'm back to center. Now I'll reverse. Looking up to the sky, feeling that neck out. Might get a couple pops, should feel lovely. Okay, and then we're going to work on our shoulder blades. So shoulders, scapular movement is a lost art sometimes, so let's kind of get that coordinated. I want you to start by just what everybody's already pretty good at, shrugging up really high. Okay, so when I shrug up, I'm going to start to pull them back. From the side view, imagine you're tracing a big, big circle with that shoulder. Going down, try to reach those shoulders to the floor as I start to round them forward towards my nose, working up, shrugging my shoulders to the very, very top where we started, and then I'm going to reverse it back. Okay, so I'm rolling forward and down, back, and around. Good, and there's next. And now we're going to move on to the shoulders. So from the side, I'm going to start with my right hand. Thumbs facing forward, Lock down those ribs. Try to keep your body very, very still, making a small fist with your left hand. We're just going to get that shoulder warmed up. So just so you can see the top of it, I'm going to kneel down a little bit. You guys can keep standing, but we're just going to reach up as far as we can until it stops or you feel like you have to compensate to get it back any further. Once you're there, you're going to take your thumb that's facing behind you, rotate it out as far as you can, keeping it in place, reaching behind you, reaching behind without twisting your torso too much, and to the back, okay? So now my thumb's still facing behind, I'm internally rotated at my shoulder, and I'm gonna reverse it, okay? So I'm gonna reach as far as I can, getting that shoulder to move, pausing there, rotating it up as far as possible, palms even up here, and rolling around. Okay, and that's just one. So again, this is just our quick warm-up. I encourage you guys to take your joints through full movements every day. You know, motion is lotion, and what you don't use, your body eventually loses. So sometimes just that full range of your shoulder, both reaching and rotating, is exactly what it needs. Gets it lubricated, keeps it feeling healthy and less stiff. Okay, so great morning routine right here. You could do 2 or 3 reps of them when you have more time. So here, from the start, you guys can be kneeling. I'm doing that for the camera, but if you want to stand, that's perfectly fine. Reaching overhead, reach back. I'm maxed out there, so I'm going to rotate it maximally, rotating as far as I can before I feel my body start to shift too much, and then I'm reaching backwards, thinking of a big, big circle. Another great tool for this is on your own if you have a wall. Having it right there to block your hand off is a great training guide to keep you in line, okay? Pulling it back, rotating, and swinging it around. And perfect, okay? And then real quick to finish up our warm-up here, we're going to go to the hips. So we're just going to do standing. I recommend if you have something to balance with, use that. But here we're just going to do the same thing on our hip joint, okay? So I want you to come up and in as high as you can, bringing your knee up, your ankle, you're rotating that way, holding it there. Take that knee as far to the side as you can. Try not to compensate and lean with your body. So now we're here, pressing that knee out, trying to bring that ankle up. All we're doing is drawing a big, big hip circle, how far you can go. Okay, and we're back down. I'll face this way so you guys can get a better view. We're just going to reverse it just like everything else. We're going straight back. I'm going to rotate my hip out to the side, keeping my ankle high. Don't let it fall down. Keep it up there. Bring it up. And again, I wish I had something to hold on to because it's more of a balancing act. So if you have your couch or something handy, use that, okay? There's one. And as you do that, you should feel that hip really start to fire and warm up. Again, that full range is really great for that joint health, okay? Going to the other side, bringing your foot and knee up. Going to swing it to the outside. Bring that foot up, back and around. And reverse. Out. Ooh, lost my balance. And around. And great. Okay, guys, let's get started here on our knee. So I'm going to use my pad here, and I'll face to the side. We're going to have our left knee down, just like so, leaning forward till you feel that stretch. So I'm going to give you a minute here to settle in. Having a pad under the knee is always a good idea. If you want more of a sensation, you can elevate the back foot with something, another pillow or a couch or something like that, but right here is fine for most. Let's just breathe on it. Deep breath in and out. And inhale. And exhale. Let's play around with it here a little bit. So my left knee's down. My right hand is going to be inside here. I'm going to reach forward as far as I can with my left arm. Reach overhead. And roll. Okay, I'm just going to switch positions. You guys stay right where you're at. But from the front here, we're going here. I like to use my right hand to sort of keep my knee to the outside as I'm reaching and rolling. Good. So now, just like last time, we're going to do that kind of those reflexes a little bit. So from the side again, I'm going to flex my glute of the downside leg. So it's my left hip that I'm targeting here. So that's where we should feel our sensation. I'm going to inhale, do a glute contraction, squeeze my butt for 3, 2, 1. Relax that tension. And we'll do that one more time. And inhale, 3, 2, 1. And relax. I'm going to show you guys something new this time. We're going to do the opposite direction. So we've been firing this glute. I want you to imagine this lead foot, that right heel, is pulling into the ground like this, and this left knee you're trying to push forward. So it's kind of a push-pull technique, getting that those hip flexors fired up, contracting, because then when we relax, they can tend to give a little more. Okay, so we're feeling the stretch. And we're going to build tension by starting to pull your heel into the ground. This knee drives into the ground, so it's kind of like that. And go ahead and build that tension. Feel that quad and hip firing up. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Good, and you should really feel that here. One more time, we're pulling into the ground with our right heel. We're driving forward with our left, creating that tension. 3, 2, 1. And relax. So now I don't know about you, but I am much further forward than I was before, and I'm feeling a great sensation here. So let's just hold it for one more breath. And exhale. Good. Kind of just rock back gently. Now all we're going to do is keep that right foot in front. And I'm just going to collapse forward now. So it could feel it in the right hamstring, kind of like a high hamstring stretch. Some of you may still feel it in the left hip flexor. Neither answer is wrong, okay? It's just wherever your limiting factor is. So from the front, I'm just going to start to crawl my hands down, trying to keep my spine flat. So from the side, I want to be nice and tall as best as possible. Don't just slump down like that. I'm staying tall, and I'm just sinking my hips side to side. If you need a block or something raised for those that can't get down as easily, that's encouraged as well, but try to get those hands down with a fairly flat spine. And I'm just rocking back. I'm able to get my left hand down to the floor now, so let's take this right arm, and again, it's whichever side is forward. So my right arm, my right leg's in front. I'm going to inhale, and I'm going to work on that shoulder rotation, thoracic rotation. Going back up. Let's do 2 more of those, rolling back. Inhale, exhale. Do that stretch. And last one. And good. Slowly coming back up. So, this is kind of a fun experiment that I like to do, again, going back on the check-in. We did the high knees, squats, whatever you guys did to self-assess. When I just do one leg sometimes and I stand up, you could just feel how different side to side feels, the stretch versus the non-stretch side. So if you are doing this, as you bring one knee up, hopefully one knee's kind of popping up and the other one doesn't maybe move quite as much. And so that's what I like to tell people is we move with our parking brakes on a lot, where there's just this tension and muscles fighting basically each other, that a little stretch is like, wow, like it's amazing sometimes how good and impactful it feels. So hopefully you're feeling that difference a little bit side to side, and we're going to even you up now. So the right knee will be down, left leg is forward, and we're just finding that end range again. I like to have my hands on my chest and ribs to remind me to not peel back, staying over the hips, and breathing. Let's get another breath. And exhale. Adding the circles. Left hand pushes my left knee to the side. Reach. And roll. Inhale, reach. And good. Feeling that stretch here, let's do our glute squeeze. So we'll inhale, squeeze the back side of your right glute. 3, 2, 1, and exhale. Let's alternate now. So now we're going to drive our right knee down, pull our left heel back by firing that hamstring, and go. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Good. One more cycle of each. Breathe in, glute squeeze, and exhale. Push, pull, right knee's pushing into the ground, left heel's pulling back, and go. 3, 2, 1, and relax. And a good check-in, guys, is each time you exhale, there should be some positive direction going on. If you're just feeling that tension and it's not giving, you're kind of breaking in that cold sweat, gritting your teeth, that's a little too far, okay? So kind of, again, meet your body where it's at. Stretching should not be painful or, intimidating like that. You should be able to gently get your body to settle down and relax into these new ranges. So have that be a check-in for you guys as well. And good, slowly coming out of there, keeping your left foot forward. We're just gonna do our mountain climber stretch, keeping our right knee down, sinking down into that, taking inventory how that left hamstring feels here. You might feel it high up in here or on the front still. As I move my knee side to side, that definitely changes the sensation in that hip joint capsule. Variation is good. Never want to stay too rigid in your stretches, meaning you don't want to do the same plane in the same way every time. You want to kind of explore around. That's really why I like doing those just subtle changes, body rotations. Keeps you more engaged in the process as well, because, traditional static stretching, if you're holding something for 2 minutes, usually there's not a lot of buy-in and people just kind of zone out. They don't have a very good focus to it. So having little active components where you guys are mentally engaged, thinking about what's going on, getting inside your body, those are all really good things. Okay, left leg's up, left arm is going to go up. We're going to inhale, and then we're going to exhale. I like to use my right arm as leverage. I'm kind of pushing the floor away to get a better twist. So have that in mind too. It's not just twisting with your left arm. Inhale, exhale, twisting with my left, pushing off with my right. Good, one more breath. And back. Good, slowly come on back. All right, guys, before we get into our hips on the outside, glutes and hips, we're just going to finish off adding another little variation, getting our groins going. So classic frog rock back. Most of you, I would suggest starting with your ankles together. Hopefully you can see that. Knees are nice and wide, though. So knees wide, heels together. And as I rock back, not too bad here. So this is why it's a safe starting point. Keeping your back flat, okay, sinking back. So I'm just going to gently scoot my feet away like that, okay? So I'm just getting a little more separation. As I sink back, I'll feel that more deep inside my hip and the groin area there. If you're able to get down to your forearms, that's great too. But we're just rocking back and forth, okay? So you can play around, coming up to your palms, seeing if that frees up any motion. Again, trying to find that max distance without it being too painful or intense, okay? Once you find that, try to just kind of stay on it for a little while. Let's breathe into it. These are it's a small game here, playing centimeters or millimeters by millimeters. So close your eyes, check in with your breath. Inhale deep. As you exhale, lean into that stretch. 2 more breaths. And 1 more. And exhale. Good. So I'm really was able to move back a little bit, and I'm really feeling it now. So let's add that reflex again and see what happens. So now what I'm thinking about, with my knees really wide, I'm imagining firing up my groins, trying to pull my knees together, kind of pushing them down and squeezing them into the ground like I'm squeezing a watermelon. Really big watermelon, apparently. So as we breathe in, we start to squeeze together, fire up those adductors. 3, 2, 1, exhale, sink back in. So just contract, relax, guys. The same muscles you're stretching, you're going to tense them up as best you can. Nothing strong or too intense right now, but we're just pressing them together and then relaxing into it. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, squeeze your knees together. And exhale, sinking back. Let's get one more for good measure. Inhale, squeeze. Exhale, relax back. And then when I get out of this one, I really like to just slowly do it for sure, but just rock your hips forward, gently bring your knees there, and just looking up like so, kind of like a cobra pose, rocking back, making those hips feel nice and happy. Okay, good. And then our last piece here, guys, for our hips, going back to that 90-90 position. So we're going to be here, working on the rotation now a little more specifically, back and forth. Once you get a couple, kind of note which side might feel tighter than the other, how we're moving today. I'm going to roll to my left side, so let's all roll here to our 90-90 position. And we're just going to lean. Remember, we're falling out and over that left knee. So you have three sort of degrees of it. If you fall over the knee, straight on, that's good for most people, usually the least intense. If you fall your chin over your shin, kind of in the middle there, that's a little more extreme. And if we start to aim for our ankle, that gets you the strongest sensation on that hip. Okay, so find what's comfortable for you. I'm going to start somewhere between my shin and knee. Inhale, stringing out my spine, taking out the slack. Exhaling, falling out and over. Coming up. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. Once you find that good, semi-comfortable position, you should feel a good stretch, but you should also feel like you should be able to hang out here for a bit. Let's just kind of hold it there, okay? And we're going to do kind of what we did for our hip flexors. Inhale, we're going to press like there's something underneath your knee and shin like a grape. Let's crush it, okay? So inhale, pressing down. 3, 2, 1. Exhale, relax. Good. And let's do that again. Inhale, press, press. Exhale. Good. So each one, again, we're gaining ground with each one is the goal. Let's get one last rep. Inhale, pressing, pressing. And relax that tension with the exhale. Good. A few more breaths. Most people are very bound up in the glutes and the piriformis on the side, any sciatica type things like that. This is usually a great area to pay attention to, so really want to spend a good amount of time here trying to facilitate change. Don't just stretch for time or just to say you stretched. We want to, where we start, take a note of like, man, that's feeling pretty tight, I'm way up here. By the end of your stretch for that session or that time, you should notice a change where you're like, oh, now I'm kind of down here a little bit. So that's pretty much the best you could do at any one time while you're working on this. Making that change. And slowly coming out. Keeping the same position now, guys. This one is probably close to one of the most restricted areas that I've seen on people. We've been focusing on this front side. That's your glutes, piriformis, working on hip external rotation. Here's where it gets really gritty with our internal rotation, okay? So keeping this knee at about 90 degrees, we're trying to turn our shoulders back and basically think about dropping your butt to the floor more, okay? So as you do that, if there's any pain on the inside, any meniscus issues you guys have or anything like that, don't twist as much. Maybe bend your knee a little more to get out of that. But we're just going to twist back and seeing if we can get into this right hip capsule here. Okay? So just breathing. As I inhale, I'm imagining I'm trying to lower my right glute to the ground. So you can see I'm pretty tight, so my knee starts to lift up, and that's okay. Bring your knee up and your hip goes down. You might feel it a little differently. And then when you exhale, see if you can keep your butt where it is and drop your knee down just a little bit, okay? And then the other thing, the more vertically or upright you sit, the more intense it's going to be. So some of you might be able to stay up here, and that's great. Some of you might need to pretty much lean back like that to get a good stretch on that. So from the side. If I'm here, I'm twisting back away from the camera, trying to sit on my right glute. If that's too strong, I can lean back a little bit. That's fine. That lessens the intensity. Find whatever works for you. And again, this is a very small game, okay? The window for improvement in any one stretch or sensation isn't too high on it, hip internal rotation, so it's very small. And we're rotating back into it. Let's do one more breath. And good. Okay, and we're just going to switch it up. And as always, doing that check-in, I can now just fall to the left, going to the right. Isn't quite there yet, but haven't worked on that side so far. So I'm on my right leg, finding that spot. Ankle, shin, or knee is my aiming points. Just following the breath. Breathe in. Good. Finding a nice sensation there. Let's just hold it for a little bit. Keep breathing on it. And we'll add that pressing, okay? So we'll inhale, pressing down. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Release the tension. 2 more reps there. Inhale, pressing down. 3, 2, 1. And relax. Last one, guys. And relax. Good, so that made a difference there. Still not getting in a hurry. Let's just spend a little more time here. Working on those minor shifts if you'd like. You can kind of rotate your torso or your shoulders. Settle into it. Doesn't need to be the exact same. Again, some of you may be having that knee more bent. That's totally fine. 90 is just kind of a good, safe starting point. 2 more breaths. Good. 1 more. And exhale. Slowly coming up there, working our left hip internal rotation. We're twisting back, getting my glute to fall down. Bringing my knee up, exhale. Settle it back down. Again, just a very strong, sort of deep sensation in that hip. For a lot of you, it kind of feels a little grimy, but over time, we're going to kind of I'll give you some strategies to help get around that if it's feeling a little pinching or doesn't quite feel right, okay? Very common to kind of have this bound up pretty good. I'm just going to turn face this way. Leaning back a little bit, getting my hip down as best I can. Inhale. Lowering that down. Let's get 2 more breaths on this side. And exhale. And good. Slowly bend that knee and hip out of there. Rocking side to side. Taking a child's pose. So we're just going to go here, rock, sink back. Holding that for just a second. And exhale. Okay, guys, and the last couple things we're going to do is just get a little bit of attention for our upper body. So staying in that child's pose, rock back. We're just going to show you guys the 3-way one last time. where from this front we were here and to the side. We're going to pretty much stick to the down the middle here, but we're going to center up your right hand right in line with your chin, right there. And then we're going to just do a single arm rock back there. So I'm rocking back, really sinking my hips backward, trying to feel the stretch down the right side, okay? From there, making it a little more dynamic, take your left hand, reach through as far as you can so you're rotating. See how that adjusts the stretch? And then just try to twist as far up as you can, okay? Another option to do this is putting that hand just on your low back. And you're just trying to reach your shoulder through. Breathe in. And exhale. So I'm always kind of trying to pin my hand, pin my palm, lean back to get traction and an overhead stretch sensation as I'm doing it. So I don't want to just be here, just working rotation. I want to keep that right lat on stretch the whole time, okay? Let's get one more. Inhale, then exhale. Reach through. Actually, that one felt really good, so I'm going to do one more. And exhale. Good, and coming back forward. Switching the hand. I'm going to square back up. Reach, inhale. And exhale. Inhale, reach. Find which variation works best for you. Might be on the back. Might be just reaching like I am. Inhale, last one, and exhale. Lovely. All right, guys, and then the last one, for some of you, you might need a full-length foam roll to feel it more, but this is mostly for those people that are really bound up in the shoulders and chest, and we're tight there. So we're just going to work on a couple floor slides, laying back, making sure low back is flat, very easy to round it and compensate. Keeping it braced there. You're going to just rest your head down. Starting with your elbows just by your sides. You're going to breathe in. Spine is flat. Chin is tucked slightly. You're going to exhale and reach up as far as you can. Feeling that chest open up. And this one, just kind of give you guys a minute. Just going at your pace. Some of you may prefer a snow angel where you reach out and wide with straight elbows, or we might do a slide like I'm showing with your elbows bent. Just make it feel nice. If you don't feel a stretch, either elevate your body up by laying vertically on a foam roll, or if your wrists are popped up kind of like mine, getting a light weight like a pound to 2.5 pounds gives you that little extra stretch. Okay, let's get one more breath. And then wherever your stretch is feeling the most, guys, we're going to just finish up with what we did last time. So if you're feeling a good chest stretch when your arms are about here or here, just let it be there as long as it's comfortable. Don't want your arms going numb or tingling or anything. But we're going to keep it right there and practice that belly breathing. So now all we're going to do, start to wind down. We're just going to take a deep breath in. Exhale. And feel that tension dissipate and feel your wrists or arms just melt into the ground. That's one. Inhale. And exhale. And that's two. And that is for the rest of you guys to keep breathing as long as you'd like. See if you can get to at least 10 and just kind of unwind and feel all that tension dissipate. Hope you guys enjoyed it today. Keep breathing, keep stretching. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.
My cellophane love song. is ringing tonight. Your music box heart is wound much too tight. I'm babbling about work stuff. You're prickly and warm. The storm outside rages, and you are the storm.